as well. Rupashri, the other allegation that's coming in from the BJP is that yes, the Aam Aadmi Party can talk all they want as far as the New York Times article is concerned, but we feel it's a paid one. Has there been a clear response by the Aam Aadmi Party on these allegations?
Not yet. In fact, that question was also put to Aam Aadmi Party Rajya Sabha MP Sanjay Singh, and he clearly said that since it is Kapil Mishra who has put out that tweet, that question must be asked to Kapil Mishra. But remember, Aam Aadmi Party Chief Arvind Kejriwal also, when he addressed that press conference today, he started with this article that has been published in the New York Times. It is also important to ask whether the New York Times is going to compromise its credibility by publishing a paid article on its front page. So that is for the New York Times to answer, that is for the Aam Aadmi Party to answer. But the big takeaway from Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's address essentially is that number one, work is not going to stop, work is going to continue. Number two, he's harnessing the potential of this movement politically, issuing a number for a missed call campaign for people to join the Aam Aadmi Party. So clearly trying to give out the signal that Aam Aadmi Party is completely not on the defensive. In fact, Aam Aadmi Party expects the more such cases to be filed, more such raids to happen, and also completely going about his work as usual. If I can ask my VJ Umesh Sharma just to show you the residence of the Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal. You see, since morning I have been here and there are no visitors. Everything is absolutely calm, as if it is a very normal working day. We are getting to learn that once something concrete emerges out of the CBI raids in Manish Sisodia's house, if at all, then probably we are going to start to see leaders come in. But Arvind Kejriwal in that press conference also said that he expects the CBI not to find anything in the raids that are going on currently at Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence. But remember, since he's already been named in the FIR, we expect that this case is going to the court, and finally it will be the courts which will pronounce the verdict on whether Sisodia is innocent or guilty, and it is not the Aam Aadmi Party or the BJP which are going to say whether Sisodia is guilty or innocent. Now, at the heart of this matter, of course, is the new excise policy of the Delhi government, which it had brought in with lot of hope and expectation. Essentially trying to remove the government from the liquor business and trying to ensure equitable distribution of liquor across the national capital. But that policy actually failed to take off on the ground. The Lieutenant Governor's office essentially has said, and the Chief Secretary himself has also given his report to pointing out the loss of revenue to the exchequer because of this new excise policy. And the allegation is that of a quid pro quo. So, but all those allegations will have to be proven in the court of law. We are also getting to learn that Aam Aadmi Party is in touch with senior lawyer Kapil Sibal, and already it is not that Aam Aadmi Party is in touch with Kapil Sibal today, but they have been in touch with him, and probably he will be one of the lawyers who will fight the case in the court once it comes up in the court.
The CBI team is allegedly at Sisodia's home. This is something that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Delhi Chief Minister, is saying.
You know, this is not the first time. They were basically anticipating that CBI would be arresting, but at this point in time, he has tweeted and he has said that CBI is at his house and he is welcoming them.
But the fact that the team is there on ground means that prima facie it finds reasons to believe what LG has recommended, that the excise policy must be looked into by the top investigating agencies.
The CBI is at the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence now, and it can be said that this is a raid by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Thanks a lot for staying with CNN News 18. I'm Shivani Gupta, and our top focus certainly continues on the raids that are ongoing at Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence. Now, this is with regards to the entire probe that has been launched after the LG action, wanting action in this case on the excise policy of the Delhi government, which was changed when the Aam Aadmi Party recently did it last year, and has of course faced flack for. They initially decided to revert it as well, go back to the old PAL policy, but that was to remain in focus till August, and that seems to be an admission that there was something wrong. Now, whether it is something that has just gone wrong with the policy, or there is an intention to loot the exchequer for personal benefit. Now, that's really the crux of this entire scam. I want to first go across to Saurabh Bhardwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party, who's speaking. Let's listen in.
सीबीआई ने छापा मारा है मनीष सिसोदिया के घर पर, और उसके बाद आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रवक्ता सौरभ भारद्वाज हमारे साथ हैं। सौरभ जी, क्या कहेंगे सबसे पहले सीबीआई के छापे पर?
देखिए, सबसे पहले तो हम बाहें फैला के आम आदमी पार्टी की तरफ से सीबीआई का स्वागत करते हैं। और भी जो एजेंसीज हैं प्रधानमंत्री जी के पास, ईडी है, इनकम टैक्स है, एनआईए है, हम सबका स्वागत करते हैं। वे भी आएँ, जांच करें, छापेमारी करें। सवाल सिर्फ ये उठता है कि पिछले 8 साल की सरकार के दौरान ये छापा, ये मुकदमे कोई पहली बार नहीं हो रहे हैं। मनीष जी के ऊपर पहले भी सीबीआई की जांच पड़ चुकी है, पहले भी छापा हो चुका है। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के दफ्तर में सीबीआई का छापा पड़ चुका है। कई मंत्रियों के घर जो है इस तरीके की छापे, जांच, ये सब हुई है, मगर निकला क्या? निकला अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं है।
लेकिन इसे बीजेपी करप्शन से जोड़कर देख रही है, खास करके शराब के ठेके को लेकर।
देखिए, भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसको भ्रष्टाचार की लड़ाई कहती है। मेरे को लगता है ये सिर्फ विपक्ष और अरविंद केजरीवाल के साथ इनकी लड़ाई है। मैं सवाल करना चाहता हूं भारतीय जनता पार्टी के समर्थकों से कि वो इसके बारे में सोचें। गुजरात के बंदरगाह पर 20,000 करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी जाती है, 20,000 करोड़ की। कोई मजाक की बात नहीं है कि किसी ने भेजी और आपने पकड़ ली। एक ऑर्गेनाइज सिंडिकेट 20,000 करोड़ की ड्रग्स भेज सकता है। किसके घर पे छापा पड़ा, किस भारतीय जनता पार्टी के घर पे ईडी की रेड पड़ी, हमें भी पता चले। गुजरात के अंदर शराबबंदी है। गुजरात में कोई गांव नहीं जहां शराब ना मिलती हो। गुजरात में कोई शहर नहीं जहां पे आप फोन करें और आपको घर में शराब डिलीवर ना होती हो।
All right, a lot of political reactions have now begun to flow in. And remember, this fits very well in the opposition narrative that all opposition parties are being attacked by the central agencies. So DMK, part of the opposition, the larger opposition umbrella, has come out defending Manish Sisodia. They have indeed targeted the centre, saying that this is, of course, raids that are motivated and the overall argument of political vendetta. Let's listen in.
Politically, the party should either support BJP or should not criticize BJP. Then no raid. Whatever mistake, whatever corruption they can involve, they are allowed freely to do it. Everything they are targeting the opposition parties. They are misusing all their powers to target the opposition parties and damage them. But unfortunately for BJP, people have come to understand what the BJP's action plan is. They want to help some of the rich people of this country who are supporting them and indirectly funding them.
My colleague Purnima is tracking this. Purnima, not a surprise, the DMK's reaction. And once again, they're questioning the partisanship of the central agencies, that only the opposition parties and their leaders are facing raids.
Absolutely. It comes as no surprise as the DMK says that ADMK has a lot of corruption cases, but no raids have so far been conducted. And that's a clear indication. They allege that it's definitely a clear indication that BJP does not want to target its allies, but only the opposition parties, and are using the central agencies. That's the word that's coming in from the DMK, saying that these raids are politically motivated for political gains of the BJP. That's what the DMK alleges, and also targets the ADMK on the corruption cases that are pending, while no action has yet been taken against the ADMK leaders.
All right, Purnima, we'll keep coming back to you for more. Let me go across to some other updates that are now coming in. All right, speaking of the opposition attacking the center. All right, we're also getting some more updates that are now coming in as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. They are in touch with senior advocate Kapil Sibal. This is what sources are indicating to us. There has been one meeting that has been held between Aam Aadmi Party lawyers and Kapil Sibal, who's of course a senior advocate with many years of experience. Sibal might also appear in Satyendra Jain's matter tomorrow. Remember, Satyendra Jain is the other Delhi minister, the former health minister, who has been embroiled in a scam relating to personal benefit and hawala routes and hawala money, and has been in ED custody. That case is listed for hearing tomorrow, and it looks like the Aam Aadmi Party is all set to take the help of senior advocate Kapil Sibal on these matters. Let me go across to my colleague Ananya, also joining us. Ananya, what more are you learning?
Well, yes, clearly sources have told us that in fact Kapil Sibal has been contacted by the Aam Aadmi Party with regards to the legal cell of the Aam Aadmi Party with regards to Mr. Sisodia's matter, and a meeting was held between the two and it continued for a while, wherein the legal route was discussed, what's under the law, what is the route under this particular act under which Mr. Sisodia is being booked is there, or what is the way forward basically as in terms of legal procedure is concerned, was discussed into this particular meeting between the two lawyers. Deliberations are still underway, and in fact we shall also remember that this is not only Mr. Kapil Sibal who would have been contacted into this particular case, because remember that senior advocate Abhishek Manu Singhvi also appears for the AAP government in a lot of matters, which also include the very crucial Delhi versus Centre tussle or various other matters. He is in fact in the matter of freebies also Mr. Singhvi has represented the Aam Aadmi Party government. Deliberations are on currently with Kapil Sibal, though we have no confirmation whether Mr. Singhvi has also been contacted into this particular case or not. But then, knowing the knowledge of criminal law that Mr. Kapil Sibal possesses, the years of experience, more than 50 years of experience in Supreme Court of India, and the sharp knowledge of law that Mr. Sibal has, remained a former law minister of the country, he is being contacted and a legal advice is being sought. And in fact, what our sources also tell us is that tomorrow, where Mr. Satyendra Jain's matter is listed before the Rouse Avenue Court in the national capital, Mr. Sibal might also appear for Satyendra Jain as well into this particular case. So we'll have to wait and watch as to what happens on the legal front. But then this is what our sources tell us currently with regards to the consultations being sought from Mr. Kapil Sibal. And in fact, a meeting has already taken place between the Aam Aadmi Party and Kapil Sibal with regards to exploring
Ananya,
the legal
stay with me. I also want to go across to my other colleagues. Rupashri Nanda tracks the Aam Aadmi Party very closely. She continues to be with us. And my colleague Anvit is also joining us. He's also live from Anand Tiwari's residence, where also raids took place earlier. Anvit, just give us a sense of what the agencies are telling you. What are you learning? Who are the individuals involved, apart from Manish Sisodia? And what are their roles as far as the agency is concerned?
See, Shwani, we are right outside Anand Tiwari house, and just a short while ago, CBI team had raided his house, and they are conducting searches inside the house. And what we are learning from the office
is insecure as far as Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal are concerned. Just yesterday, the Delhi education model got published on the front page of the New York Times, and it got lauded as a way to transform education across the world. The very next day, you see the fact that the CBI is raiding the home of the Education Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. It is very clear that the Bharatiya Janata Party is insecure of the rising popularity of Arvind Kejriwal. After Delhi, it's been Punjab. After Punjab, now with Aam Aadmi Party's growing popularity in Gujarat, the Bharatiya Janata Party just wants to stop Arvind Kejriwal using whatever method possible.
Right, ma'am. So you are saying this is all being done to tarnish the image of Aam Aadmi Party, but do you think that the BJP is getting successful in this? Initially, we saw that Satyendra Jain is still behind the bars. Also today, Manish Sisodia is being raided. Do you think that the BJP is getting successful in its motive to tarnish the clean or corrupt-free image of Aam Aadmi Party?
The Bharatiya Janata Party and the central government can use all their agency. Why just the CBI? Let them bring the Enforcement Directorate. Let them bring the Income Tax Department. Let them bring Delhi Police. They will not find 1 rupee worth of corruption in any policy of the Aam Aadmi Party of the Delhi government. also, the whole country is watching. The whole country is watching. They're seeing the fact that you have an illicit liquor hooch tragedy in Gujarat. The CBI doesn't go to investigate that. In Uttar Pradesh, the Prime Minister inaugurates the Bundelkhand Expressway, and within days, a project worth hundreds and thousands of crores, within days that expressway is broken on many places. The CBI doesn't go to investigate that. Who does the CBI go to investigate? Arvind Kejriwal's Delhi government, the one government in the country that is performing on education and healthcare. So therefore, the reason behind these raids is very clear to anyone who is watching, that the Bharatiya Janata Party is insecure with the growing popularity of Arvind Kejriwal. But let me also tell the Bharatiya Janata Party that
Well, it is a day where there will be a lot of war of words. The Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP going at it at each other. Let's listen into Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP.
इस लिकर अपैरेटस में है। बताया जाता है कि वो एक बहुत बड़े पब का मालिक है और इस पब को चीका दिल्ली में जो है ये पब, यहां पर मनीष सिसोदिया खुद गए हैं, ये उसके ही हैंडल से पोस्ट हुआ है, फिर इसको डिलीट कर दिया गया है। केजरीवाल की भी ये तस्वीर जो उसने पोस्ट की थी उसको जांच की शुरुआत के बाद डिलीट कर दिया गया। अगर कोई गलत बात नहीं थी तो इस पब के मालिक ने, जिसका इन्वॉल्वमेंट पूरे लिकर इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर में है दिल्ली में, जो अरविंद केजरीवाल और मनीष सिसोदिया का करीबी है, इतना करीब है कि या तो अरविंद केजरीवाल के घर में जाता है या तो वो मनीष सिसोदिया को अपने पब में बुलाता है, उसने ये तस्वीर डिलीट क्यों की? क्या ये व्यक्ति इस पूरी लिकर स्कैम का कैश कलेक्टर है? हां या ना? क्या रिश्ता है मनीष सिसोदिया, अरविंद केजरीवाल, आम आदमी पार्टी का इस दिनेश अरोड़ा नामक बार पब वाले के साथ? क्या इसके पब को, बार को कोई भी पेट्रोनेज अरविंद केजरीवाल, मनीष सिसोदिया या आम आदमी पार्टी ने, सरकार ने दिया है, हां या ना? और क्या जो L1 लाइसेंस के कमीशन 2.5% से 12% बढ़े और 6% वापस लेने की एक पूरी जो एक खाका बनाया गया, क्या इस व्यक्ति के माध्यम से एक कैश कलेक्टर के रूप में इसका इस्तेमाल किया गया, हां या ना? ये एक महत्वपूर्ण सवाल है कि क्या जो लिकर स्कैम जिसमें आम आदमी पार्टी का शीर्ष नेतृत्व शामिल नजर आता है, और स्कैम तो हुआ है, ये स्कैम इसलिए कह सकते हुआ है क्योंकि खुद आम आदमी पार्टी ने नई लिकर पॉलिसी को स्क्रैप करके ओल्ड लिकर पॉलिसी को लागू करने का काम किया है। अगर ये पॉलिसी इतनी अच्छी होती, जैसे ये बता रहे थे कुछ हफ्ते पहले तक कि इससे तो बहुत रेवेन्यू बढ़ा है, फायदा हुआ है। आपको याद होगा मेरे साथ कई डिबेट्स में राघव चड्डा, आम आदमी पार्टी की आतिशी मार लेना, सौरभ भारद्वाज ये आकर कहते थे, जब पहली बार एलजी ने चीफ सेक्रेटरी की रिपोर्ट के आधार पर सीबीआई प्रोब रेकमेंड की तो ये कहते थे ये तो सबसे अच्छी पॉलिसी है, इससे फायदा हुआ है, स्कैम कहां हुआ है? और तब ये आकर इसका बचाव करते थे। अगर ये इतनी अच्छी थी तो न्यू पॉलिसी से ओल्ड पॉलिसी पे क्यों आए? न्यू पॉलिसी को कूड़ेदान में क्यों फेंका? दूसरा, यदि ये पॉलिसी अच्छी नहीं थी और अब ये कहते हैं हो जाने दीजिए जांच और अनर्गल आरोप लगाते हैं, तो आप उतने समय तक इस पॉलिसी का बचाव क्यों करते रहे? बचाव इसलिए करते रहे क्योंकि आज सामने आ चुका है कि जो लिकर स्कैम के सबसे बड़े कैश कलेक्टर और कर्ता धर्ता हैं, जो इसमें इन्वॉल्व हो सकते हैं, जिन पर जांच की आंच आ सकती है, उनको फोटो डिलीट करवा के अपने रिश्ते छिपवाने की और इस पूरे मामले को दबाने की कोशिश लगातार आम आदमी पार्टी और उसकी सरकार कर रही है। और इसी श्रृंखला में अब जो मुझे मीडिया के कुछ साथियों से एक बहुत बड़ी बात सामने आई, और यह बात बहुत बड़ी बात है। आपने देखा होगा कि जैसे ही हम स्पेसिफिक कुछ सवाल लिकर स्कैम के बारे में पूछते हैं, और मेरे पास आज वो 15 सवाल है, उन सवालों का जवाब देने के बदले आज आम आदमी पार्टी कहने लगी कि ये एजुकेशन में हमने वर्ल्ड क्लास काम किया है, वर्ल्ड क्लास मॉडल तैयार किया है, और उसकी वाहवाही न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में हो रही है। हालांकि मैं न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स नहीं पढ़ता, और मैं अरविंद केजरीवाल से कहूंगा न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के बदले वो देश के कोर्ट के आदेश जो आते हैं जिसमें कि कभी क्रिमिनल बैकग्राउंड का व्यक्ति बताते हैं अरविंद केजरीवाल के पार्था अर्थात सत्येंद्र जैन को, या जब कहते हैं कोर्ट कि सफिशिएंट एविडेंस एग्जिस्ट अगेंस्ट सत्येंद्र जैन और उसके खिलाफ प्राइमा फेसाई एविडेंस है, या 2019 का अगस्त का दिल्ली हाईकोर्ट का आदेश है कि वो हवाला ट्रांजैक्शंस करवा रहा था सत्येंद्र जैन, उसको पढ़ने के बदले ये न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स पढ़ते हैं। परंतु एक दिलचस्प बात सामने आई है, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में जो ये आर्टिकल जो छपा है जिसके आधार पर ये वर्ल्ड क्लास एजुकेशन मॉडल की बातें कर रहे हैं, ऐसा ही हूबहू आर्टिकल खलीज टाइम्स में छपा है, और यहां तक कि फोटोज और वर्ड्स भी सेम हैं दोनों आर्टिकल के। न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स की ये फोटो देखिए, मैं माफी चाहता हूं कि मैं ये लाइव से कर रहा हूं तो हो सकता है आपको ज्यादा साफ दिखाई ना देती हो, पर ये जो फोटोज है न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में ये सेम टू सेम फोटोज, ये देखिए मनीष सिसोदिया वाली खलीज टाइम्स में। ये कैसे हो सकता है जी? अगर न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने बहुत रिसर्च करके तथाकथित रूप से ये कहा हो कि लिसन, ये इनका वर्ल्ड क्लास मॉडल है एजुकेशन का, हम इस पर स्टोरी कर रहे हैं, ये कोई एडवर्टाइजमेंट दी हुई या ये प्लांटेड वो इस प्रकार की चीज ना हो, तो दोनों आर्टिकल्स में उसी समय पर उसी डेट पीरियड में सेम फोटोज और सेम वर्डिंग्स के साथ कैसे आर्टिकल्स छप सकते हैं, वो भी दो ऐसे अखबार में? आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अलग अलग एडिशंस में वो छप जाए, पर न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स और खलीज टाइम्स दोनों में सेम आर्टिकल सेम फोटोज कैसे छप सकते हैं? और मैं तो इनसे कहूंगा कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स और खलीज टाइम्स छोड़िए जी, वहां पर जो छपाते हैं छपवाते हैं, और हमें पता है सीएजी की रिपोर्ट ने अभी बताया है हाल ही में कि 4200% इंक्रीज हुआ है एडवर्टाइजिंग बजट में आम आदमी पार्टी का। इसीलिए लोग कहते हैं दिस नॉट आम आदमी पार्टी, ये एडवर्टाइजिंग एंटी आम आदमी पार्टी है। ये एडवर्टाइजिंग एंटी आदमी पार्टी ने 4200 गुना ज्यादा अपना एडवर्टाइजमेंट कॉस्ट बढ़ाया है, और मेक इंडिया नंबर 1 तो हुआ नहीं पता, पर मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 हुआ है। मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 इन अव्यवस्था, मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 इन करप्शन, मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 इन विज्ञापन, मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 इन नशा, मेक दिल्ली नंबर 1 इन तुष्टिकरण। और मैं आपको बताता हूं, स्कूल वर्ल्ड क्लास मॉडल कह रहे हैं ना स्कूल का, मैं आपको अब भारत की कुछ न्यूज रिपोर्ट्स दिखाता हूं जी। मैं तो भारत की मीडिया पर भरोसा करता हूं। भारत की मीडिया कहती है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल ने 500 स्कूल का वादा किया और अभी तक 500 स्कूल नए खोले नहीं खोले, वो उसकी सूची दे दे। 30 से ज्यादा स्कूल बंद हुए, 20 नए कॉलेज का वादा किया, वो स्कूल कॉलेज नए बना नहीं पाए। इसकी आवाज हमारे नेता प्रतिपक्ष बिदुड़ी जी ने विधानसभा में उठाई, और ये देखिए दिल्ली भारत की न्यूज रिपोर्ट कह रही है कि 824 स्कूलों में प्रिंसिपल नहीं है, और एनसीपीसीआर ने नोटिस जारी किया उनको। मैं भारत की मीडिया का और एनसीपीसीआर जो एक संवैधानिक बॉडी है उसका भरोसा करता हूं। भारत की मीडिया में छपा हुआ है कि ईडब्ल्यूएस की 40,000 सीटें भरी नहीं गई है, गरीबों के लिए जो सीटें होती है वो भरी नहीं गई है। ये इनका शिक्षा मॉडल है। भारत की मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है कि दिल्ली के गेस्ट टीचर्स को परमानेंट करने के बदले उनकी नौकरी छीन ली गई, उनको आंदोलन पर उतरना पड़ा। भारत की मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है कि 9वीं क्लास में 40% बच्चों को ड्रॉप आउट करना पड़ रहा है, वो फेल हो रहे, ड्रॉप आउट करना पड़ रहा है। भारत की मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है कि किस प्रकार से ये लोग प्राइवेट डिप्लोमा इंस्टीट्यूशंस में आम आदमी पार्टी की सरकार फीस बढ़ाना चाहती थी, उसको एलजी ने रोका। ये भारत की मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है, और ये तो अरविंद केजरीवाल की सरकार का पत्र है। इन्होंने पीडब्ल्यूडी को लिखा कि जो क्लासरूम बनाए हैं उसमें अनियमितताएं, इलीगैलिटीज, इरेगुलरिटीज है और बहुत सारी कमियां हैं। भारत की मीडिया का रिपोर्ट है, और भारत के ही लोक आयुक्त, दिल्ली के लोक आयुक्त की रिपोर्ट।
35 करोड़ भारतवासियों के दिल में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की जगह बनती जा रही है। आज पंजाब की जीत के बाद अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की लोकप्रियता, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का जन समर्थन, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की पॉपुलैरिटी देश के कोने कोने तक पहुंचती नजर आ रही है। कश्मीर से लेकर कन्याकुमारी तक, गुवाहाटी से लेकर गुजरात तक आज लोग अरविंद केजरीवाल जी और केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं, उसे अपना रहे हैं, और 135 करोड़ भारतवासी अपने हृदय में, अपने दिल में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को बसा रहे हैं। आज से पहले अक्सर चुनावों में यह कहा जाता था कि मोदी बनाम कौन, मोदी वर्सेस हु। आज पंजाब की जीत के बाद देश के लोग कहने लगे हैं कि विकल्प हमें मिल गया। उस विकल्प का नाम है अरविंद केजरीवाल। और जो लोग पहले कहा करते थे मोदी बनाम कौन, मोदी वर्सेस हु, आज वही लोग कह रहे हैं मोदी वर्सेस अरविंद केजरीवाल, मोदी बनाम केजरीवाल। एक विकल्प राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी और आम आदमी पार्टी बनते जा रहे हैं। आजाद भारत के इतिहास की सबसे तेज रफ्तार से बढ़ने वाली राजनीतिक शक्ति, पॉलिटिकल पार्टी का नाम है आम आदमी पार्टी, उसके नायक का नाम है अरविंद केजरीवाल। और आज इस जन समर्थन को देख, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की बढ़ती पॉपुलैरिटी को देख, करोड़ों भारतीयों के दिलों में अपनी जगह बना रहे अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का बढ़ता राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर कद देख, आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी और प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी डर गए हैं, घबरा गए हैं। और उन्होंने सीबीआई जैसी एजेंसियों को हमारे लोगों पर, हमारे नेताओं पर छोड़ दिया है। एक ही मकसद है कि केजरीवाल को खत्म करो, केजरीवाल को फिनिश करो, सिर्फ एक ही मकसद है। यह कोई इत्तेफाक नहीं है कि दुनिया के सबसे शक्तिशाली माने जाने वाले देश अमेरिका के सबसे ज्यादा रिनाउंड और बड़े अखबार में पहले पन्ने पे मनीष सिसोदिया जी की फोटो छपती है। दिल्ली में चल रहे केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस और शिक्षा क्रांति के बारे में लिखा जाता है, और अगले ही दिन सीबीआई मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर पहुंच जाती है। यह कोई इत्तेफाक नहीं है कि पंजाब चुनाव के बाद जैसे जैसे अरविंद केजरीवाल जी देश के कोने कोने में करोड़ों लोगों के दिलों में अपनी जगह बना रहे हैं, उसके तुरंत बाद सीबीआई जैसी एजेंसियां हम पर छोड़ दी जाती हैं। मुझे लगता है जब प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी ने भी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का कल का अखबार पढ़ा होगा तो वो भी परेशान हुए होंगे, उनका भी मन मचला होगा, परेशान हुआ होगा, बड़ी पीड़ा हुई होगी अरविंद केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस की, शिक्षा क्रांति की खबर पढ़ के, उसकी तस्वीर देखकर। और इसीलिए शायद सीबीआई, इन्फोर्समेंट डायरेक्टरेट और न जाने कौन कौन सी एजेंसियां आज आम आदमी पार्टी के नेताओं पर छोड़ी जा रही हैं। हम जब भी अरविंद केजरीवाल मॉडल ऑफ गवर्नेंस की बात करते हैं तो दो बातें उसमें खास तौर पे आती हैं, आप सब जानते हैं। पहला है एजुकेशन और दूसरा है हेल्थ। पहला है शिक्षा और दूसरा है स्वास्थ्य। दिल्ली में एक शिक्षा क्रांति आई जिसके चर्चे देश दुनिया में हैं। बढ़िया स्कूल बने, बढ़िया इंस्टीट्यूशंस क्रिएट करे गए, 20 लाख स्कूल जाने वाले बच्चों की तकदीर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने बदली, तो शिक्षा मॉडल निखर कर आया। दूसरी ओर स्वास्थ्य के क्षेत्र में अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार ने ताबड़तोड़ काम किया। प्राइमरी हेल्थ केयर यूनिट्स यानी कि मोहल्ला क्लिनिक से सुपर स्पेशलिटी अस्पताल बनाए। गरीब आदमी से लेकर देश के, दिल्ली के हर आम आदमी को मुफ्त बढ़िया इलाज, वर्ल्ड क्लास हेल्थ केयर मुहैया कराई और एक हेल्थ, स्वास्थ्य का एक गवर्नेंस मॉडल देश के सामने रखा। एक तरफ शिक्षा मॉडल, एक तरफ स्वास्थ्य मॉडल अरविंद केजरीवाल जी की सरकार ने रखा। और आज केजरीवाल साहब को रोकने के लिए इन लोगों ने हमारे शिक्षा मंत्री के घर पे रेड कर दी। हमारे स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को पकड़ के जेल में डाल दिया। यही तो दो मॉडल थे जिसकी बात हम करते थे, शिक्षा मॉडल और स्वास्थ्य का मॉडल, एजुकेशन मॉडल और हेल्थ केयर का मॉडल। और इसी को रोकने के लिए, केजरीवाल मॉडल को खत्म करने के लिए भाजपा ने हेल्थ मिनिस्टर को, हमारे स्वास्थ्य मंत्री सत्येंद्र जैन को जेल में बंद कर दिया, जो कई महीनों से जेल में बंद है। और मनीष सिसोदिया जी पर आज रेड कर उन्हें भी जेल में बंद करने की तैयारी है कि शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य के इनके मॉडल को बर्बाद करो, इनके मंत्रियों को गिरफ्तार करो, ताकि केजरीवाल मॉडल बर्बाद हो जाए, अरविंद केजरीवाल खत्म हो जाए। यह भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सोच है, प्रधानमंत्री जी की सोच है। बड़ा शोर मचाया जा रहा है कि कोई शराब नीति है, शराब नीति में घोटाला हो गया, लिकर पॉलिसी आ गई, बहुत बड़ा करप्शन हो गया। मैं पूछना चाहता हूं आपके माध्यम से भाजपा से भी और सभी लोगों से कि गुजरात, जो एक ड्राई स्टेट माना जाता है, जहां शराबबंदी है, उस सूबे गुजरात में सालाना 10,000 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा गैर कानूनी शराब, इल्लीगल शराब का व्यापार होता है। ये भाजपा के लोग ही चलाते हैं। कभी सीबीआई गुजरात गई? अगर शराब नीति ही मुद्दा था तो सीबीआई को सबसे पहले तो 10,000 करोड़ के इल्लीगल शराब रैकेट को बस्ट करने के लिए, उसे पकड़ने के लिए, उसे खत्म करने के लिए सबसे पहले गुजरात जाना चाहिए था, लेकिन सीबीआई गुजरात नहीं गई। आज से कुछ दिन पहले हमने देखा कि भारत के इतिहास में सबसे बड़े ड्रग्स की रिकवरी गुजरात में हुई, गुजरात के एक पोर्ट पर हुई। भारत के इतिहास में सबसे बड़ी तादाद में नशीले पदार्थ, जिसमें कोकेन, ओपियम, हेरोइन, न जाने क्या क्या बरामद हुआ, वो गुजरात में पकड़ा गया। सीबीआई कभी वहां गई? अगर नशा मुद्दा था तो सीबीआई को भी वहां जाना चाहिए था। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता सरेआम भ्रष्टाचार करते हैं। कभी सीबीआई किसी भारतीय जनता पार्टी के नेता के घर पे आपको नजर आई? प्रधानमंत्री जी ने आज से कुछ दिन पहले बुंदेलखंड एक्सप्रेसवे का उद्घाटन किया। प्रधानमंत्री जी के उद्घाटन के 5 दिन बाद वो एक्सप्रेसवे, वो सड़क धंस गई, टूट गई। साफ भ्रष्टाचार था, ठेकेदार से सेटिंग हुई। कभी सीबीआई बुंदेलखंड एक्सप्रेसवे घोटाले की जांच करने पहुंची? कहीं नजर आई आपको? तो इसका मतलब साफ है, मुद्दा शराब नहीं है, मुद्दा शराब नीति नहीं है, मुद्दा नशा नहीं है, और मुद्दा भ्रष्टाचार भी नहीं है। मुद्दा सिर्फ एक है, केजरीवाल। केजरीवाल को रोको, केजरीवाल को खत्म करो। आज से कुछ दिन पहले अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने देश के 135 करोड़ लोगों को आह्वान दिया कि आप आओ और हम सब मिलकर एक छतरी के नीचे आकर
बोलेगा। अभी जब सीबीआई मनीष सिसोदिया को हथकड़ी लगाकर कोर्ट में पेश करेगी, तब मनीष सिसोदिया के पास में कोई जवाब नहीं होगा कि वो इसका क्या जवाब दे कि वो ओबराय होटल गया, उसकी सीसीटीवी की फुटेज है, उसकी मोबाइल की लोकेशन है, उसने शराब माफियाओं के साथ में मीटिंग करी, उसने पॉलिसी में 2% से 12% किया। इस बात का इन किसी के पास में कोई जवाब नहीं है। तो जब लिकर पॉलिसी स्कैम आता है तब ये कोई और मुद्दा जो है छेड़ देते हैं। जब एजुकेशन की बात करो तो हेल्थ की बात करते हैं। जब दिल्ली का स्वास्थ्य मंत्री जेल में है, कोरोना के केसेस बढ़ रहे हैं, मगर हिम्मत देखिए आप कि एक मंत्री जेल में है जिसको हाईकोर्ट ने प्रथम दृष्टया दोषी ठहराया है, उसको अभी तक अरविंद केजरीवाल ने हटाया नहीं है। क्यों नहीं हटाया? क्योंकि अगर अरविंद केजरीवाल ने सत्येंद्र जैन को हटा दिया, मनीष सिसोदिया को हटा दिया, तो वो दोनों के दोनों सारे राज उगल देंगे। अरविंद केजरीवाल ने कैसे कैसे पैसा के लिए फाइल पर साइन करने के लिए बोला, किन किन लोगों के पास गया पैसा, विजय नायर का इस पूरी पॉलिसी बनाने में क्या रोल है, कौन वहां से तेलंगाना से लोग आते थे प्राइवेट प्लेन में, कोई जवाब नहीं दे पाया। तो मेरा मनीष सिसोदिया जी से ये उनको फ्रेंडली एडवाइस है कि सत्येंद्र जैन की हालत देख लीजिए, बेचारा अपनी याददाश्त भी भूल चुका है। तो मैं अगर कहो तो मैं 1 किलो बादाम अभी जो है मनीष सिसोदिया के पास में भिजवा देता हूं, ताकि वो इस इन्वेस्टिगेशन के दौरान में ये ना बोले कि मैं भी कोविड हो गया था, मैं भी अपनी याददाश्त भूल गए। तो हम अभी से उनको बादाम भिजवाने को भी तैयार हैं, मगर मेरी मनीष सिसोदिया को फ्रेंडली एडवाइस है कि आप सत्येंद्र जैन की हालत देख लो, बेचारा आज बोल भी नहीं पा रहा है, ठीक से चल भी नहीं पा रहा है, और या तो मनीष सिसोदिया सरकारी गवाह अगर बन जाते हैं तो मैं अपनी सरकार से कोशिश करूंगा कि उनकी सजा थोड़ी कम हो जाए, और नहीं तो मनीष सिसोदिया जी को मेरी फ्रेंडली एडवाइस है कि वो थोड़ा योगा प्राणायाम करना शुरू करें, क्योंकि उप मुख्यमंत्री को इतनी सुविधाएं तिहाड़ जेल में नहीं मिलती हैं। सत्येंद्र जैन की हालत हम देख ही रहे हैं। तो ये सारा घपला था जो आज पूरे दुनिया देख रही है, यही आपके सामने मुझे रखना था। ये पिक्चर आपके सामने अभी हम आपको दे देंगे। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
ये भी एक एलिगेशन है कि जब इनके दूसरे राज्य में मुख्यमंत्री बनाए गए तो वो भी ओवरऑल होटल जो प्लॉट आप बता रहे हैं
कि हम एजेंसियों के साथ पूरा कोऑपरेट करेंगे, उन्हें जो डॉक्यूमेंट चाहिए हम देंगे, जो सवाल पूछेंगे उसका जवाब देंगे। जब हमने कुछ गलत किया नहीं तो हम एजेंसियों के साथ क्यों ना उनका समर्थन करें, उनको सपोर्ट दें। जो अफसर बेचारे आए उनकी भी क्या गलती है, उन्हें भी ऊपर से भेजा गया उनके आकाओं ने। हम बिल्कुल कोऑपरेट करेंगे। पहले भी मनीष सिसोदिया जी पर सीबीआई की रेडें हुई, पहले भी मनीष सिसोदिया जी पर कई सारे मुकदमे दर्ज हुए, सारे मुकदमे खत्म हो गए, कोर्ट में गिर गए और मनीष सिसोदिया जी जीत, सत्य की जीत हुई। मनीष सिसोदिया जी बाइज्जत बरी हुए। हमारे 100 से ज्यादा नेताओं पर, जिसमें कई विधायक मंत्री शामिल हैं, पे फर्जी मुकदमे किए गए। एक एक करके सारे मुकदमों में कोर्ट में एजेंसियों को डांट खानी पड़ी, फटकार मिली और हमें राहत मिली, हमें आजादी मिली, हमें बाइज्जत बरी किया गया। तो ये इन लोगों का जो एक्शन है चलता रहे। अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के घर पे रेड करी थी तो 4 मफलर मिले थे। मनीष जी के घर पे रेड करेंगे तो 4 पेंसिल, नोटबुक, ज्योमेट्री बॉक्स, यही चीजें मिलेंगी।
और राघव जी, आपको लगता है कि भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ आप लोगों ने मुहिम चला के पार्टी बनाई और आज एक सबसे बड़ा चोट उसी पे हुआ है जो आप लोगों का इमेज है, राजनीतिक रूप से इस इमेज पे चोट हुआ है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल के सबसे करीबी मनीष सिसोदिया शराब नीति के भ्रष्टाचार में पाए गए हैं, ऐसा आरोप लगाया जा रहा है ऊपर में। और यहाँ तक कि विजिलेंस इंक्वायरी में भी ये साबित हुआ है कि उस नीति में गलत हुआ था, 11 अधिकारियों के ऊपर में कार्रवाई की हुई।
देखिए, इन लोगों का मकसद यही है जो आपने पूछा। इन लोगों का मकसद है कि केजरीवाल को खत्म करने के लिए ये साबित करो कि केजरीवाल भी हमारे जैसे हैं, हम तो भ्रष्ट हैं, अरविंद केजरीवाल जी भी हमारे जैसे। यही भाजपा वाले साबित करना चाहते हैं। वो इसी पे चोट मारना चाहते हैं जिस चीज की आपने बात करी। लेकिन इस देश का आम आदमी बहुत समझदार है। आज अरविंद केजरीवाल जी ने 135 करोड़ भारतीयों के हृदय में अपने लिए जगह बनाई है, उनके दिल में बसे हैं। इतना आसान नहीं है इस केजरीवाल लहर को और इस बढ़ती लोकप्रियता को रोकना। आज राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का और भाजपा का एक ही विकल्प है, उस विकल्प का नाम है आम आदमी पार्टी और अरविंद केजरीवाल। इस आम आदमी पार्टी को और अरविंद केजरीवाल को खत्म करने के लिए बीजेपी न जाने क्या क्या करेगी। हो सकता है आने वाले समय में और भी बहुत चीजें हों, लेकिन देश का आम आदमी बहुत समझदार है। देश का आम आदमी देख रहा है कि क्या हो रहा है।
कपिल मिश्रा ने ट्वीट करके कहा है कि चाहे न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स हो या कलिश टाइम्स हो, सब जगह सेम न्यूज, सेम फोटोज, ये पेड जैसे एक तरीके से कराई गई खबर है।
आज तक कभी भाजपा के किसी नेता की खबर तो छपी नहीं। अगर पेड न्यूज है तो सबसे ज्यादा पैसा तो भाजपा के पास है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी अपने आप को दुनिया की सबसे बड़ी पार्टी कहती है, सबसे अमीर पार्टी है, तो उसे तो रोज फ्रंट पेज पे होना चाहिए न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के। अगर न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स
कभी नहीं देखी।
रिपोर्टर भी करणदीप सिंह नाम के रिपोर्टर है, दोनों हमारा सेम रिपोर्टर है, आप पढ़ सकते हैं इसके लिए।
तो ये ऐसा तो नहीं है कि खलीज टाइम्स का जो फंडर है वही न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का फंडर है, कहीं आप ये नहीं बता रहे हैं? क्योंकि ये बात सच है, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का जो फंडिंग है वो कतर से हो रहा है, फॉर योर इंफॉर्मेशन।
देखिए, अब ये तो आप उसकी जांच करिए, और मैं सारी बात नहीं बोलूंगा तो बोलेंगे क्योंकि विरोधी पार्टी है तो बोल रहे हैं। हमने तो आपको बता दिया, अरविंद केजरीवाल हमेशा आता है कि आज अरविंद केजरीवाल की 12 बजे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस है। ये होती है प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस जिसमें सामने 50 पत्रकार बैठे हुए हैं, 50 चैनल बैठे हुए हैं, और आप मेरे से सवाल पूछ रहे हैं। ये होती है प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस। तो अरविंद केजरीवाल तो सामने एक माइक रखकर बैठ जाता है और ऐसे ऐसे देखता है, ऐसे ऐसे देखता है, फिर बोलना शुरू करता है, फिर अपना पर्चा उठाता है, खड़ा होता है और निकल जाता है। उसके बाद में कैमरा बंद हो जाता है। वो खुद ही बोलते रहते हैं, मैंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, मैंने बहुत अच्छा काम किया, मैंने शिक्षा में बड़ा अच्छा काम किया, मैंने हेल्थ में बड़ा अच्छा काम किया, मेरी वो भी तारीफ कर रहा है, मेरी वो भी तारीफ कर रहा है। ऐसे होता है क्या प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस? मैंने कभी नहीं देखी। आपको क्यों नहीं बुलाते प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में? कल मनीष सिसोदिया की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस देख रहे थे, एक पत्रकार ने उनसे सवाल पूछा, फटाफट से भाग गए। ऐसा नहीं होता। आप मेरे से 100 सवाल पूछिए, मैं आपको 100 सवालों का जवाब दूंगा। अगर मेरे पास में जवाब देने के लिए कुछ है ही नहीं तो मैं एक माइक रखूंगा, वीडियो बनाऊंगा और भेज दूंगा। आपको चलाना चलाइए, नहीं चलाना नहीं चलाइए।
मनीष भाई, जो आपने पिक्चर का ट्रेलर दिखाया, मेरा आपसे सवाल ये है कि उसके पात्र, जो मुख्य पात्र है, वो तो शिकंजे में आना शुरू हो गए, लेकिन इसकी जो पटकथा लिखने वाले हैं, इसके निर्देशक हैं, क्योंकि वो अगर चीफ मिनिस्टर है तो विदाउट पोर्टफोलियो है, क्या उसकी जो है उसका क्लाइमेक्स उसके बारे में बताएंगे? दूसरी बात यह है कि आज जो सीबीआई का छापा पड़ा है, वो श्री कृष्ण जन्माष्टमी का दिन है, और कृष्ण और कंस का जो संबंध है वो कारागार से बहुत ज्यादा है, तो इसमें भी कुछ
बहुत अच्छी आपने बात कही है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल के बिना आम आदमी पार्टी में और दिल्ली सरकार में एक पत्ता भी नहीं हिल सकता है। ये हम सबको पता है। आम आदमी पार्टी में जिस आदमी ने थोड़ा सा आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश करी है उसको उन्होंने पार्टी से निकाल दिया, ये भी हम सबको पता है। हो सकता है कि अरविंद केजरीवाल ही सीबीआई का इन्फॉर्मर हो, वही सारी जानकारी सीबीआई को दे रहा हो कि वो मनीष सिसोदिया और जो ये सत्येंद्र जैन हैं, इनकी लोकप्रियता से इतना घबरा गया हो कि वो चाहता हो कि दोनों को जेल में भेजें। ये भी हो सकता है। और नहीं तो मनीष सिसोदिया या सत्येंद्र।
Well, there is a big war of words going on. You just witnessed there's a press conference after press conference going on from both the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Amidst all of this, we are learning some more details about the private individuals. There are several of them who are also being raided today. Remember, there is a multi-state, multi-spot raid going on today in connection with the excise policy scam. The CBI, though, is tight-lipped about these private individuals. They're saying there are a number of them, and there are linkages that are also emerging from one particular location, but they're not revealing it just yet. Let me go across to my colleague Ashish, who's tracking this. Ashish, is there a particular individual or a location in India where there are a lot of linkages coming to light?
Yeah, that is what my sources in the CBI tell me, that there is one particular location from images are coming out, and that is why, in case the names come out or it is flashed on news channels, then the entire investigations get disturbed, and that is why they are so tight-lipped about these private individuals. So they are aware that at least from one location this entire scam was running, or the beneficiaries were getting funds, or the entire scam was in one hand. So we can't say who this individual or who this company is as of now, but the CBI sources tell me that certainly there is one location through which there are various linkages, and that is why they are not revealing as of now the names of private individuals.
Okay. So in this case, if we were to just break this down a little bit further for our viewers, Ashish, because this is of course a very technical aspect of an excise policy, which was of a certain kind, the Aam Aadmi Party changed it. It even came into effect. And then there were questions being raised even from within the bureaucracy of the Delhi government. For example, the chief secretary, about whether this policy was lopsided and whether there was undue favors or preference or benefits accorded to private liquor vendors in the national capital. So how many officials are involved, are under the scanner, and how many private liquor liquor vendors or barons are involved?
So, too early to comment again, Shivani, because if you see the content of the complaint that we have in our possession, excuse me, so it names around 4 or 5 companies which were basically given the benefit, and they actually enjoyed the cartelization. There are certain companies which were allotted liquor license despite they were in violation because they were blacklisted in another state, and that information was publicly available. There were certain companies which were given licenses beyond the jurisdiction, means the policy said that you can have licenses only in 2 circles out of the 32 circles that Delhi has. So there are around 850 more or 860 odd liquor vends. So, but the license could be given only in 2 circles. But here, one company was given license in 3 circles.
Okay.
There was also, a policy which said that, a person or a company which is involved into manufacturing should not be given the license of distribution. But here, a company which was involved into manufacturing was given the license. So it's not only one violation. There are many violations, including the 144.26 crore rupees of waiver through which, a lot of money went into the hands of liquor vendors. There is also, as my colleague Manoj Gupta was telling me, there is basically a pass sort of tax which was basically applicable around 50 rupees per case of beer was applicable, but then that was also waived off, which turned out to be waiving off around hundreds of crores of rupees. It's not one, Shivani, that there is one violation. So there are many violations due to which CBI took its time. They studied the entire complaint. They cross-checked each and everything. And let me tell you, CBI or Enforcement Directorate, they usually do not knock the door unless they are 100% clear that this case will stand in the court of law. Obviously, they can fight this. The Aam Aadmi Party, Manish Sisodia, have the legal options. They can fight the case.
Yes.
But let me tell you, CBI and ED will not knock your door until and unless there is an absolute case of Prevention of Corruption Act or Prevention of Money Laundering Act.
Yes, and well, this is going to be possibly a test case for the central agencies also, because they already face the charge that a lot of their cases against, let's say, prominent politicians from the opposition parties are not really getting to any conclusion. And if such cases just continue to drag on, or they're not able to make their case very strongly, then it does raise eyebrows. Ashish, I'll keep coming back to you for more. I will go across to some more breaking updates now coming in. While the Congress party in the national capital has come out and attacked Sisodia, as far as these raids are concerned, they have welcomed these raids. The larger opposition is still defending Sisodia and is targeting the centre. Now, the faction of the Shiv Sena that is, of course, opposed to the BJP is backing Sisodia, and they're targeting the centre. And obviously, the accusation is that the BJP-led central government is misusing the agencies.
सिसोदिया जी के यहाँ जिस प्रकार सीबीआई के छापे पड़ रहे हैं, ये कोई नई बात नहीं है, क्योंकि विरोधी दलों के ऊपर भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने कसम खा रखी है छापे डालने की। जिस प्रकार आम आदमी पार्टी हिमाचल और गुजरात में प्रचार कर रही है, अपनी पार्टी का विस्तार कर रही है, बीजेपी को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आ रहा। बीजेपी ने तय किया हुआ है, केंद्र सरकार ने तय किया हुआ है कि जांच एजेंसियों का दुरुपयोग हमें करना ही करना है। ये किसी भी प्रकार से विरोधियों पर प्रहार करेंगे, उन्हें प्रताड़ित करेंगे, या तो उन्हें अपने अंकुश में लेंगे, अपनी पार्टी में लेंगे तो बीजेपी के साथ हो जाइए, या फिर सीबीआई, ईडी, इनकम टैक्स झेलिए।
Like I said, it is a day of many press conferences. Gautam Gambhir, BJP MP, is also speaking. Let's listen in.
550-600 जब ठेके खोले थे तब तो डर नहीं लग रहा था, और इतना डर लगा कि लिकर पॉलिसी वापस ले ली, कि जब पता चला कि अब एक्सपोज हो जाएंगे, अब जेल जाने का समय आ गया, तो जी लिकर पॉलिसी वापस ले ली। क्यों लिकर पॉलिसी वापस ले ली? क्योंकि कुछ घोटाला किया था ना। वैसे भी ये घोटाले की सरकार है, एक ऐसा मुख्यमंत्री है जिसको अपने शक्ल, जिसको मेगालोमेनिया कहते हैं, एक वर्ड है, जिसको सिर्फ अपनी शक्ल के अलावा कुछ और समझ नहीं आता, ना कुछ और दिखता है। 24 घंटे अपनी शक्ल देखना पसंद करते हैं और सत्ता में बैठना और उस कुर्सी में बैठना पसंद करते हैं। तो वक्त आ गया है कि दूसरा इनका उप मुख्यमंत्री भी जाएगा, धीरे धीरे करके पूरी सरकार जाएगी अंदर, जिस तरीके से घोटाले करते आ रहे हैं।
केजरीवाल साहब कह रहे हैं कि मैंने पहले ही कहा था कि सिसोदिया को जेल भेजा जा सकता है। वो ये भी कह रहे हैं कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में जिस दिन हमारा ऐड छपता है
तो अच्छा, अब देश के बाद अब न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में भी ऐड देना शुरू कर दिए हैं। शिक्षा पॉलिसी है क्या? दिल्ली मॉडल है क्या? ये तो बताइए। कहाँ स्कूल खोला है पूरी दिल्ली में? कहाँ कॉलेज खोला है? कहाँ हॉस्पिटल खोला है? दिल्ली मॉडल है कहाँ? बताइए। बारिश होती है तो पूरी दिल्ली डूब जाती है, सर्दी होती है तो पूरी दिल्ली में पोल्यूशन फैल जाता है, रोड पे आप खड़े करते हो छोटे छोटे बच्चों को तख्ती पकड़ा के। तो वो तो सिर्फ एक विक्टिम कार्ड खेलने की कोशिश करी थी। एक बेचारा जो पिछले 7 साल से बेचारा बन के कुर्सी पे बैठे हैं, वही कि उनको पता था कि मनीष सिसोदिया ने जाना है जेल, तो उससे पहले ही कहीं ना कहीं वो गिमिक, वो जो जो ये एडवर्टीजमेंट करते हैं, जो ये अपने आप को बेचारा कहलाते हैं, तो इसलिए अपने आप को डिफेंड करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे। सच्चाई आपके सामने आ जाएगी। और मैंने डे 1 से ये बात बोली, अगर किसी ने कुछ गलत नहीं किया, उसको किसी एजेंसी से डरने का कोई भी वो नहीं है। आप अगर सच्चे हैं तो आप किसी भी एजेंसी को फेस कर सकते हैं।
लेकिन वो तो कह रहे हैं कि पॉलिटिकली ये सब कुछ मोटिवेटेड है,
तो सामने आ जाएगा ना। अगर आपने कुछ गलत नहीं किया तो आप किस चीज़ से घबरा रहे हैं? अगर आज मैंने कुछ गलत ना किया हो तो मेरे घर आप किसी को भी भेज दीजिए, मैं सबके जवाब देने के लिए रेडी हूँ। लेकिन अगर मैंने कुछ गलत किया तभी तो आप ट्वीट करते हैं, तभी तो मुख्यमंत्री जी उससे पहले एक बेस बनाना शुरू करते हैं। देखिए, मैंने पहले बोला था शिक्षा मॉडल, हेल्थ मॉडल, विज्ञापन, कहाँ है शिक्षा मॉडल, कहाँ है हेल्थ मॉडल, ये बताएं तो सही। लाखों स्कूल बना दिए, लाखों स्कूल बना दिए। कमाल है। वैसे ये इतने झूठ, इंसान सिर्फ अपने घर पे शीशा ना हो तभी बोल सकता, अगर शीशा हो तो शायद इतना झूठ नहीं बोल सकता।
Gautam ji, what's your comment on CBI raid that Manish Sisodia is saying?
Nothing, he has to face it. And it was high time that he needs to face it as well. Because what they've done for the people of Delhi and what they've done to the people of Delhi, they will have to face the consequences. You're absolutely...
Well, it looks like the raids against Manish Sisodia is bringing most of the opposition together, because they're coming out in support of the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister. The TMC has backed Manish Sisodia as well and has targeted the centre for using agencies against opposition.
The CBI is currently conducting raids across 10 to 12 locations in Delhi.
This is another example of vindictive politics by the BJP central government. We have been alleging that the CBI and ED are being not used in a fair way, and they are being used to target opposition politicians. Manish Sisodia was the main face of the AAP government in Delhi. He did significant work in the education field in Delhi. So if people are penalized for formulating policies, it is very wrong. But they will find nothing, as Arvind Kejriwal has said. So far the CBI raids have thrown up no papers, no cash, no nothing. They are targeting those who are opposing the central leadership of Modi and Shah in Delhi.
Let me go across to my colleague Rupashri Nanda, who's also tracking this very closely, tracks the Aam Aadmi Party very closely. Rupashri, we've heard a few leaders of the Aam Aadmi Party, of course, come out and say the same thing. They're obviously talking about the fact that just recently an international newspaper has talked about Delhi's education model. But this case pertains to the excise policy. What is their defense to the charges when it comes to this policy?
Well, 2 points. When Arvind Kejriwal actually spoke in that press conference today, he clearly said that when the CBI raids Manish Sisodia's house, the CBI is not going to find anything, and even earlier such raids have happened. So clearly Aam Aadmi Party's chief Arvind Kejriwal is backing Manish Sisodia to the hilt, expressing confidence in him that or sending out the signal that no corruption has happened. The second point over here is if you are asking me about what is Aam Aadmi Party's defense, then you have to go back to Manish Sisodia's press conference which he held a few days back on the excise policy, and this press conference was held after the Lieutenant Governor had given the go-ahead for the CBI probe. In that press conference, Manish Sisodia actually detailed the entire chronology of the new excise policy of the Delhi government, and he said clearly in the press conference that this excise policy in the draft stage was sent to the then Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal time and again at least twice, and it has incorporated the recommendations of the then Lieutenant Governor. But when it came to execution of the excise policy on the ground, then the Lieutenant Governor changed his mind over allowing liquor shops to open in unauthorized areas as they had been happening in the past 20 years. So that was the change that was brought in, according to Manish Sisodia, by the then Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal, which led to the liquor policy actually not being effective on the ground. And Sisodia had also said, in fact, he had written to the Lieutenant Governor, VK Saxena.
Rupashri, just hold on. I want to fix the audio line with you. We are facing some issues. In the meantime, let's go across to my colleague Anvit also. Anvit, you were at Anand Tiwari's residence. Now, there are former bureaucrats who are also under the scanner, including the former excise commissioner. Give us more of what you're learning.
Yeah, Shivani, right now we are outside Anand Tiwari's house, and you can see this is the vehicle in which the CBI team had come earlier in the morning. The raids started around 9 a.m. and this is the house where the teams are still inside. A short while ago, 2 officers had left his house, but they're back now, and the raids searches are going on because the vehicle that you can see parked here earlier in the morning, CBI officials also came out of the house and searched this car, and this is the house of Anand Tiwari was suspended along with 11 other officials on August 6th, including the then Excise Commissioner Arav Gopi Krishna. We are learning that CBI might also raid his residence, which is we are learning is in Vasant Vihar, and these searches are being conducted over alleged serious lapses in the implementation of Excise Policy 2021-22. Because if we talk about the background, it was in July 8, when the report was submitted by Delhi Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar, after which it had surfaced that there is a possibility that some kickbacks were received and commissions were received, in lieu of giving licenses to liquor vends, and the money, it was said that it had been used in the Punjab election as well. So after these, Delhi LG had recommended a CBI probe, and after which CBI had also registered an FIR, following which these searches are being conducted. And early in the morning, the teams had come here. We do not know if anything has been recovered so far, because CBI officials had not come and spoken to media. Neither has any of the family members have come out and spoken to us. But what we have learned is that initially when the teams went in, they had taken the phones of the family members and the laptops in their custody. We do not know if they are seizing these equipments or seizing the laptops and the phones, but the raids are still continuing. It's been more than, it was around 9 a.m. and it has been almost been 2. So we are learning that somewhere around late evening the raids are expected to conclude.
Right. Anvit, we'll keep coming back to you, and my colleagues are of course tracking this from various vantage points. Before I toss over to my colleague Riddhima, listen in to some of the top political reactions on the developments today.
पूरी दुनिया के सबसे शक्तिशाली देश के सबसे बड़े अखबार के फ्रंट पेज के ऊपर भारत के बारे में इतनी अच्छी खबर छपना, दिल्ली के बारे में इतनी अच्छी खबर छपना। इस खबर में मनीष सिसोदिया जी की फोटो छपी है। आज मनीष सिसोदिया को दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा शिक्षा मंत्री घोषित किया गया, लेकिन उसके घर सीबीआई पहुंच के रेड मारने के लिए। कई झूठे केस कर चुके मनीष जी के ऊपर, मेरे ऊपर कई बार रेड कर चुके, सतिंदर जैन पे, कैलाश गहलोत पे, हमारे कितने लोगों पे ये लोग रेड कर चुके। कुछ नहीं मिला, अभी भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। तो सीबीआई अपना काम कर रही है, उसे घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है। सीबीआई को हम अपना काम करने दें। उनको ऊपर से आदेश हैं कि भाई इनको तंग करना है, ऊपर से आदेश हैं, अड़चने अड़ाओ। अड़चने आएंगी, काम नहीं रुकेगा।
भ्रष्टाचारी जितना मर्जी ईमानदारी का चोला पहन ले, वह भ्रष्टाचारी ही रहता है। अरविंद केजरीवाल और मनीष सिसोदिया की सांठगांठ सामने आई, इसीलिए शराब नीति को वापस लिया। सीबीआई और जांच की डर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी को मजबूर करती है ट्वीट करने पर कि ये शिक्षा नहीं, ये शराब की बात हो रही है और आम आदमी पार्टी के शराब के ठेकों में हुए भ्रष्टाचार की बात हो रही है। जनता को मूर्ख न समझे। एक्साइज मंत्री एक्सक्यूज मंत्री तो बन गए हैं, कहीं उनकी भी यादाश्त न चली जाए।
सौरभ जी क्या कहेंगे सबसे पहले सीबीआई के छापे पर?
ईडी है, इनकम टैक्स है,
NIA है, हम सबका स्वागत करते हैं। सवाल सिर्फ ये उठता है कि पिछले 8 साल की सरकार के दौरान ये छापा, ये मुकदमे कोई पहली बार नहीं हो रहे हैं। मनीष जी के ऊपर पहले भी CBI की जांच पड़ चुकी है, निकला अभी तक कुछ भी नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी इसको भ्रष्टाचार की लड़ाई कहती है। मेरे को लगता है ये सिर्फ विपक्ष और अरविंद केजरीवाल के साथ इनकी लड़ाई है। ये पूरा का पूरा गैर कानूनी शराब का नेटवर्क जो गुजरात में चल रहा है, जिसमें सरकार को एक्साइज का 1 रुपया भी नहीं आता, हजारों करोड़ का नुकसान हो रहा है, इसमें ईडी की जांच और CBI के छापे कब पड़ेंगे, ये देश जानना चाहता है। बुंदेलखंड के अंदर प्रधानमंत्री जी एक सड़क का उद्घाटन करते हैं, एक्सप्रेसवे का, 5वें दिन वो एक्सप्रेसवे धंस जाता है। डैम का उद्घाटन करते हैं, वो डैम टूट जाता है। व्यापम के अंदर तो पत्रकारों तक की हत्या की जाती है। कब CBI और ईडी उसकी जांच करेगी? तो ये बात जो है, ये कहना कि ये भ्रष्टाचार के ऊपर कार्रवाई है, ये ठीक नहीं है।
देखिए, ईमानदारी के नाम पर उन्होंने बहुत कुछ कर लिया, और जो एक्साइज का जो मसला है वहां पर, जिस बात को लेकर के वहां पर बड़े स्तर पर वहां पर घोटाले हुए हैं, उन सारी बातों को लेकर के वहां के लेफ्टिनेंट गवर्नर ने कहा कि ये जांच का विषय बनता है, और CBI को रेफर किया है, उन्होंने रिकमेंड किया है उन्होंने कि भाई ये इसमें जांच बनती है और इसमें कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए। कांग्रेस पहले से एक्सपोज है और आम आदमी पार्टी अब हो।
Good afternoon. It's 2 o'clock. You continue to be with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. Our top focus are the raids that took place earlier in the day at the residence of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. He's been charged by the CBI with criminal conspiracy in connection with the Delhi Excise Policy. He's been charged with violating the excise policy, lapses in policy implementation and giving undue benefit to license holders. Now, responding to this situation, Manish Sisodia has claimed that he is being harassed for doing good work. He also said that he will not be brought down by conspiracies. The Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal stood behind his deputy, saying that he is extremely proud of the work in the national capital, especially because he was featured on the front page of the New York Times on the 18th of August. Now, as per sources within the Enforcement Directorate, the ED will be asking for the CBI's FIR against Manish Sisodia, and the agency will be registering an ECIR, which is the version of an FIR, related to action against Manish Sisodia. This, of course, has also resulted into a political war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. The Aam Aadmi Party reiterating that we expected this and this is just vendetta politics. Let me first bring in my colleague Rupashri Nanda, who's been tracking all these developments as far as reactions of the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned. Now, Rupashri, two big questions that are being raised by the BJP at this point. One, for how long can you play this victim card? If there is nothing to hide, why don't you just cooperate with the investigation? And more importantly, as far as the role of the LG is concerned, that why was all of this passed without the LG being in the loop?
Well, quickly answering what Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons and the Chief Minister himself has said, Aam Aadmi Party, each one of those spokespersons, if you heard them from morning, have said that we are cooperating with the investigative agencies. In fact, the Chief Minister himself also said that we will cooperate with the agencies, let the CBI do its work. They have orders from above. And Saurav Bhardwaj, in fact, actually said that CBI is welcome. Even Manish Sisodia has welcomed the CBI raids, and essentially all these leaders are trying to make the point that please come and please raid us, we have nothing to hide. That is the number one point. The number two point that you raised essentially is why was the LG not taken into consideration. Now for that answer I will have to go back to Manish Sisodia's press conference itself, which he held about 2 weeks back, in which he clearly detailed the entire chronology of the Delhi's excise policy, and he did say in that press conference that the draft excise policy was sent to the Lieutenant Governor time and again, at least twice, and it had also incorporated the suggestions that had come in from the Lieutenant Governor, and the Lieutenant Governor then was essentially Anil Baijal. Now he has also said alleged in the press conference that just 2 days before the policy was to be implemented on the ground, the Lieutenant Governor changed his mind on allowing liquor shops to open in unauthorized areas, which in fact had been happening for the past 2 decades in Delhi. So that was a change for which the excise policy was not not prepared for, and that is one of the biggest reasons what which led to essentially loss of revenue for the government. It led to discontented liquor shop owners who then went to the court, and it also led to an uneven distribution of liquor shops in the national capital, which possibly resulted in cartelization of the liquor business, which essentially also meant that the liquor policy that was envisioned by the Aam Aadmi Party's government did not take off in the manner in which it had anticipated. And there were two cornerstones of the Aam Aadmi Party's liquor policy. Number one was that take the government out of the liquor business, give it entirely to private, private vendors, and number two, equitable distribution of the liquor vends across the national capital. Now, on the second count, actually, the policy completely failed. Now, the Lieutenant Governor actually gave his recommendations for a CBI probe on this issue based on the new Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar's, appraisal of the entire liquor policy. And there has been a loss of revenue, which has been acknowledged also by the government of Delhi. And there have been lapses which have also been acknowledged by the government of Delhi. And when the liquor policy actually was supposed to be terminated by the Aam Aadmi Party's own government, actually they went in for a month's extension because the government shops which had been closed were not in a position to open overnight and then distribute liquor across the national capital. And the current governor, V.K. Saxena, actually was forced to essentially give his nods to this new excise policy's extension for 1 month because they did not want a law and order situation in the national capital. Last point I want to make, Ridhima, is regardless of what the Aam Aadmi Party claims or what the BJP is charging, ultimately Manish Sisodia's guilt or innocence is going to be proven in a court of law. And as the case stands now, it is a bit serious because he has been already named in the FIR.
Correct.
You have yourself said that the ED is also looking into it. So the Aam Aadmi Party, its top leadership, is essentially bracing for a long legal and political, political.
Correct. And they're already preparing a legal plan in the meantime as well. Rupashi, I'll just request you to stay on with us. Our other colleagues also now joining us. Akash is tracking all developments outside Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashi is tracking reactions from the Aam Aadmi Party. Ananya Bhatnagar joining us on the broadcast. He's joining us from outside the LG's residence. Anvit is outside Anand Tiwari's residence, and my colleague Arunima joining us from our newsroom as well. Arunima, let me come to you first. These raids are not taking place not just in the national capital but other parts of the country as well. Allegations of quid pro quo. As far as private individuals are concerned, the allegations are that they could have been recipients as far as proceeds of crime are concerned. Just first talk to us about how many locations are being raided across the country and what are the allegations.
Yes, 21 locations across 7 states and union territories being raided. These include premises of 4 public servants, including Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence here in Delhi. Other than that, raids are going on in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu. These are places which are associated with the private individuals and their companies who are under the scanner right now. Now, this entire preliminary inquiry was carried out by the CBI after the Lieutenant Governor asked the CBI to look into allegations that the excise policy was created in a way that robbed the state exchequer of crores of rupees and benefited private individuals. The charges that BJP has levelled and the charges that have been forwarded to CBI include that in crucial meetings that were undertaken ahead of the excise policy's finalization, some of these private individuals were actually present with the government officials, and therefore they allege that this was part of a criminal conspiracy. There is also a Punjab angle which is being alleged. CBI so far has been very tight-lipped. They're carrying out these searches looking for evidence in terms of paper trails, in terms of digital trail, and we're expecting by this evening we would know if the allegations made by the Bharatiya Janata Party are allegations that are found merit with the agency investigating.
True. Arunima, just stay on with us. I now want to bring in Ananya Bhatnagar in the conversation as well. Taking on from what Arunima was saying, these raids happened after a nod and approval was given by the LG. The allegation against the Aam Aadmi Party is that the LG wasn't kept in the loop. What were the red flags that were raised as far as the LG is concerned? Where did he feel that a CBI inquiry is now needed?
Well, yes, the chronology of the matter is also a very important one, Ridhima, because this is not the LG who's the first leg into this particular chronology, because as per our sources in the LG office, it has been clearly pointed out that this was a recommendation that was given out basically by the Cabinet Secretary in its report to the LG, wherein various discrepancies were found with regards to the new liquor policy of the Delhi government, which has now been revoked. In fact, various presentations were given, and a report was submitted. A 3 to 4 page report was in fact submitted to the LG by the Cabinet Secretary, by the Chief Secretary, and following which the LG took a decision to write to the MHA seeking a recommendation of this particular policy to be looked into by the Central Bureau of Investigation, following which the CBI conducted a preliminary inquiry and has now come to a conclusion to register a first information report, which is in the CBI's terms called a RC, that is a regular case. So now, after which raids are being conducted at 21 locations with regards to the legal way forward. Now, the Aam Aadmi Party is exploring all its legal options. Remember, it is already consulting Senior Advocate Kapil Sibal. That is what our sources tell us. And in fact, one meeting has already been held between the Aam Aadmi Party lawyers and Mr. Sibal, wherein he has advised them about what is there in the law, what is the way forward legally, and what does the act, which is essentially the DSPE Act, say with regards to this, because remember, the CBI is basically formed under the DSPE Act, and what are the provisions available in the other parts of the law, which is the IPC and the other sections that would be invoked against Mr. Sisodia and others who have been made and accused into this particular case, the irregularities and how to deal and tackle all of this legally before the court of law. We have also been hearing from our sources in the legal cells of both the Aam Aadmi Party and close to Mr. Sibal that he might appear for, in fact, Satyendra Jain too tomorrow when the case is listed for hearing. He is another minister of this Delhi cabinet who has been under the scanner and is currently inside the jail. But coming back to Sisodia now, 21 locations are being raided.
Ananya, we'll just talk about the legal plan that is also being prepared by the Aam Aadmi Party in just a bit. We're getting some reactions and other developments also now coming in. Attacked Manish Sisodia over the liquor policy row. Let's listen in.
Central Bureau of Investigation has raided Manish Sisodia's residence, and Aam Aadmi Party is crying foul, saying it's a vendetta politics from the Bharatiya Janata Party government. Meanwhile, senior Congress leader Abhishek Dutt has come out with serious allegations on Arvind Kejriwal government in Delhi. What are those allegations? We'll straight go to Abhishek Dutt. Abhishek ji, what are the allegations that you are throwing on Arvind Kejriwal?
See, during the Delta wave, people of Delhi were dying due to bad health facilities. No oxygen, no beds, no medicine. That was a time when the Chief Minister had to think about the people of Delhi. But his priority was to work on a Delhi Excise Policy. I remember visiting his house, giving him a letter requesting not to work on excise policy, but to work for the people of Delhi. What happened during lockdown? He formulated a policy benefiting very few people in Delhi. What were the benefits? Age of people of drinking was reduced from 25 to 21. He proposed that. Liquor bars could run till 3 o'clock in the morning. Number of dry days from 21 were reduced to 3. So who are these people who are benefiting out of this? These are the lot of people. These are the people who are running bars, restaurants. These are the ones who are representing the NARI, the National Restaurateurs Association. And these are the people whining and dining with Mr. Chief Minister and the Deputy Chief Minister. Yes, there are big discrepancies in the liquor policy. We've been raising this issue when this policy was announced. We requested the then LG to please intervene immediately. This is against the interests of the people of Delhi. And I remember 2012 and 2015, Arvind Kejriwal ji talked about Swaraj Bill. He said whenever they'll open up a liquor store in Delhi, they'll ask the local women, they'll ask the Mohalla Sabha whether liquor store should be allowed or not. Last 1 year, every second house in Delhi is fighting because of this liquor policy. A person who came with the promise of Ghar Ghar Nal has given Har Gali alcohol dukan. And who are these people who are benefiting? This is the lot. When these people, now a lot of people on media will say they are political people, people can come and sit with them. Yes, they can sit with them, but they can't sit in their bedrooms. They can't have private dinners with them. The OSD to the Chief Minister of Delhi is saying that this is the best person I've met. I want to ask them, tell us about your relationship with them. You must come forward and say that how these people get all the access to the so-called Chief Minister and Deputy Chief Minister, and not even the access, the benefit in policy. This must be investigated.
No, if for the benefit of our viewers, first of all, tell us who are these people, and if they have taken the licenses for Delhi, wine stores or for the restaurant, pubs from a legal way, then what is the problem? What is your allegation?
See, people of Delhi voted for Arvind Kejriwal ji on their Aam Aadmi Party manifesto. Tell me one thing, you've been covering Delhi politics for a long time. Was it ever mentioned that Kejriwal ji will emphasize in reducing the age of alcohol in Delhi? He will promote opening up of liquor stores in non-conforming areas of Delhi. He will promote more than 800 liquor stores in Delhi. That must be investigated, something which was not part of his plan. He came on a fight against corruption. Lokpal, Swaraj Bill, right to recall. He is the only Chief Minister in our country who has no portfolio. He enjoys all the perks of being a Chief Minister. He's got a palatial bungalow. He has got a car worth 1.5 crore rupees in his car kit. He's got massive security around him. Where is 2012 Arvind Kejriwal?
Who's this guy? Who's these people?
See, this is Mr. Dinesh Arora. This is Mr. Dinesh Arora. He's at a restaurant called Chika. He owns Chika. He's sitting with Manish Sisodia. The same person is at Arvind Kejriwal's house. And the same gang, Amit Arora, then Dinesh Arora, OSD to Chief Minister, and you can read what is it doing. You're having birthday parties together, and there are more photographs. If you want, I'll show you one more photograph. Birthday party of Sanjay Singh ji being celebrated by him. Please show it in your channel.
This is Amit Arora?
Yes. Mr. Sanjay Singh must come forward and say, na, what is his relationship? You're talking about Aam Aadmi Party. You come forward and tell us what is your relationship with these people. How come they are in your bedrooms? How come they are there in your house? Are these the common people of Delhi? Who are these people? Why all the policies have been made to benefit them? Were you elected as a Chief Minister to provide alcohol in every corner of Delhi, or to give water in every corner of Delhi? You go all over the country talking about your health model. During COVID, Kejriwal ji, Manish Sisodia ji, Satinder Jain, they all got admitted in private hospitals. If your Delhi government model hospitals are good, why don't you go and get yourself checked in them? You will not go.
These people can drag you to the courts because you are...
I welcome all of them. See, I'm not Arvind Kejriwal who will apologize to Bikram Manjeetia in the court. I'm Abhishek Dutt, I'm a worker of this party. I challenge him. You drag me to the court. But at the same time, you must come forward and tell about your relationship with him. If this relationship is fine, what have I asked you? ये रिश्ता क्या कहलाता है? बताओ ना क्या रिश्ता है?
So both the Congress and the BJP now mounting pressure and demanding answers from the Aam Aadmi Party. BJP's big charge against Manish Sisodia and the Aam Aadmi Party. They're saying Manish Sisodia conspired with a pub owner, Dinesh Arora, who even the Congress is now raising questions with, and even Vijay Nair to cause loss to the exchequer in the excise policy. Parvesh Verma has alleged that the pub owner Dinesh Arora used to collect 6% of the commission money from license holders. The BJP is now claiming that nearly rupees 540 crores was collected. Also, rupees 200 crore was collected from 3 wholesale licensees who had about 60 to 70% market share. The other person that the BJP is targeting is Vijay Nair, who's a former CEO of an entertainment and event management company. And according to the BJP, he was hired by the Aam Aadmi Party ahead of the Delhi Assembly elections for their social media team. So a lot of questions now being raised as to what was the role of Dinesh Arora and another person, Vijay Nair. My colleague Arunima is now back with us. Arunima, just break it down simply for our viewers. Why are there allegations against Dinesh Arora and Vijay Nair? Who are they and what was their role as far as the excise policy was concerned?
See, These are charges that have been made by the Bharatiya Janata Party leaders. Majinder Singh Sirsa and Parvesh Verma have alleged ever since the Lieutenant Governor asked CBI to look into this matter. Various allegations have been made and these two names have come up. Now, Dinesh Arora is an entrepreneur. He owns various pubs and eateries. He's into the restaurant business here in Delhi for some time now. The charge that is being made against him is that he was one of the beneficiaries, that he allegedly benefited from this excise policy. The L1 license that was granted, the commission money was benefiting him. That's the charge that Bharatiya Janata Party leaders have made against him. For the second person, Vijay Nair, he's a former CEO of an entertainment and event management company called OML, only much louder. The charge that has been levelled against him by the BJP is that he was part of that meeting where the nitty-gritties of excise policy were decided. The charge against him is also that he was part of that conspiracy of layering. By layering, I think what the BJP leaders mean is that he helped the Aam Aadmi Party government really hide the details of the excise policy and hide the details about this alleged loss to the exchequer. Now, we have not heard from the Central Bureau of Investigation if the private individuals who are being raided include these two. All that the CBI has confirmed are the 4 public servants, and they have confirmed that 21 locations are being raided. But because this entire matter started, will the Lieutenant Governor sending a formal complaint to the CBI asking it to look into the matter? It will be interesting if by the end of the day CBI confirms who are the private individuals and what are their roles that the search party was looking at.
Okay, Arunima, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. Keep tracking those developments for us. I quickly want to go back to my other colleagues who've been patiently waiting as well, Anvid and Akash. Akash, I want to come to you first. You've been tracking all developments from outside Manish Sisodia's residence. A short while ago, we did see some sort of action play out. Certain AAP workers who were protesting were detained as well. What is the situation as of now?
So, Ridhima, it has been 6 hours now since when these officers are inside and are basically searching the premise. So, we are told that they are looking for some evidences, some documents in concern with this particular policy. Also, just a few hours back, we saw how Aam Aadmi Party workers were here. They were basically protesting against the particular activity that is being carried out here at this particular place. But now, security arrangements, if I can show you there, this road has been closed now for common people and no one is allowed. They are not allowing anyone to go, outside or to come inside. And as of now, they are saying that since the activities are going on inside, and that's the reason why they are not allowing anyone. Further, let me tell you that, talking about this particular policy. So, last month or, 2 months before, this is not the first time when we are seeing, some sort of development over this particular policy. But, last year in November, when this policy was very much implemented, at that time also, we saw how different political parties first, they protested against it because as per them, Arvind Kejriwal government was very much promoting liquor in the national capital. And at that time, that was a time of Punjab Assembly elections, and at that time Aam Aadmi Party used to say in Punjab that when we'll be coming in power, we'll be working towards Nasha Mukt Punjab, and that's the reason why opposition parties were constantly saying that on one hand you are saying that you will be working for Nasha Mukt Punjab, and on the other hand you are actually promoting liquor in the national capital. And since then, on and off we were seeing developments over this particular policy. But last month when new LG was appointed, last month we saw how it was recommended that a CBI probe should take place for this particular policy, because LG prima facie found some sort of discrepancies in this particular policy. Also, it was mentioned that Manish Sisodia was very much named in this particular development, and also it was said, it was alleged in fact that some people who were very near and dear to Manish Sisodia were given benefits violating all those norms, all those rules and regulations. After that we saw on and off developments of it, and now today finally CBI officers are here. Further in the backdrop, let me mention that Arvind Kejriwal was very much anticipating that Manish Sisodia would be arrested after Satyenjan. We saw how Satyenjan was arrested just 1 month back, one and a half months back.
So this is what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying, that this was unexpected lines. We were expecting it, and Arvind Kejriwal is saying, I've said this on a public platform as well, that first Satinder Jain, then Manish Sisodia, who knows, I could be next as well. But I want to bring in Anvid in the conversation as well, and he's joining us from outside Anand Tiwari's residence. Anvid, talk to our viewers as to why Anand Tiwari is under the scanner of agencies.
Yes, Ridhima, we are right outside former Deputy Excise Commissioner Anand Tiwari's house, and I would first like to show you the vehicle in which the CBI team had come, and the teams are very much inside still. It's been over 4.5 hours. The teams had reportedly come here around 9 a.m. in the morning, and they are still inside. And Anand Tiwari is one of the officers who was suspended on August 6th, along with Arav Gopi Krishna, who was the Excise Commissioner then, and along with these two officers, 3 ad hoc Danics officers and 6 officials of the Delhi Government Excise Policy were also suspended by the LG, and this was all done because of following the allegation that they had over the serious lapses in implementation of the Excise Policy 2021-2022. Now this policy, it was following a report filed by Delhi Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar that had accused that some kickbacks and commissions were received in giving licenses of liquor to liquor vends licenses, and that some kickbacks and commissions were recovered, and that money received, and that money was used in the Punjab elections. Following that, when LG had recommended a CBI probe, and following which the CBI registered an FIR, after that all this action unfolded, and today at the 21 locations where the raids are being conducted, this is one of the locations where we are right now. A short while ago, a CBI officials team had also come out in the vehicle that you can see. This is supposed to be Tiwari's car. This vehicle was also being searched by CBI team. They had come out, but even though they did not speak to the media at all, neither of any of the family members have come out since morning and spoken about what, if anything, has been recovered. CBI officials have, however, what we are learning is that they had taken the phones of the family members and some laptops in their custody. We do not know if the laptops and phones are being seized or any documents from here have been recovered, which will be used by the CBI against Tiwari or anyone in the family.
Okay. Anwar, thanks for getting us that update. We'll request all our colleagues to stay on with us. We're now getting some other fresh visuals that you see on your screens. These are from Manish Sisodia's residence. As we pointed out, this has now resulted in a big political war of words where the AAP is reiterating a narrative that we've heard from them before, which is that this is a witch hunt and vendetta politics. Let me bring in Akash back in the conversation. Akash, we are seeing some visuals of officials who are still at Manish Sisodia's residence. Talk to us about two things. How many hours has it been since these officials have been at Manish Sisodia's residence, and any other details that you're picking up?
So, Ridhima, as I mentioned earlier, 8:15 was the time when, we got to know that CBI officers are very much here at the residence of Manish Sisodia. And as of now, we are learning that Manish Sisodia is very much inside. Also, you are seeing these visuals just because, it is expected that CBI officers may leave in some time from now, though we haven't got any sort of confirmation about that. Further, let me mention that, we have learned that CBI officers are basically searching the premise and they are looking for some specific documents. We don't know if Manish Sisodia is a part of the process or not, but at this point in time, CBI officers are basically searching the premise. This is what we have learned. Also, this is not the only location where CBI officers are present. At this point in time, 21 location across the country, across the states, are the places where CBI officers are very much present in concern with this particular policy. I was mentioning about this policy, Ridhima. You see, this policy was implemented in November 2021, and since then we are seeing a lot of political development. In fact, from the morning itself, we are seeing that how BJP is basically claiming that this was a loot, and now CBI is basically investigating the case, and Aam Aadmi Party is having problem, and it is very obvious because their leader is very much a part of this whole corruption act. This is what the allegations are. Also, on the other hand, we are seeing Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are in fact saying that at this point in time, they were very much ready for this. They know that this is vendetta politics, and they know that CBI officers have got orders from above, and that's the reason why they were expecting this. In fact, let me mention about the press conference that was held by Arvind Kejriwal in July. It was 22nd July, if I'm not wrong, where he mentioned he anticipated that after Satyendra Jain, Manish Sisodia would be arrested just because he has got some source-based info about it. Also, let me tell you that he has categorically said that just because his ministers are doing some very good work for Delhi, and that's the reason why they are targeted. Also, he talked about the methodology that BJP government is opting, because as per him, this is the new technique, that new method, in fact, where they first target the person, they arrest that person, and then they investigate about it. Also, At this point in time, talking about this particular development, we have seen that how since from morning we have seen that leaders from Aam Aadmi Party are attacking central government. You know, they are talking about the achievement, they are talking about the report that has been published in one international publication, and they are talking about the achievement, the kind of achievement. They are saying that at the time when the efforts are being praised at an international level, BJP government has chosen this particular time, and now CBI officers are very much here inside the premise of Manish
while
Sisodia,
this
and
political war of words, Akash, continues, while the BJP is saying that we think that the article that the Aam Aadmi Party is referring to as far as the New York Times is concerned, that's a planted or a paid one. What I essentially want to understand is the other charge that is also being raised against the Aam Aadmi Party. If you compare it to what played out in the national capital and other parts of the country a couple of weeks ago, was Congress workers taking to the streets, and at that time the Aam Aadmi Party has said, for how long can you play the victim card? The same question is being asked to the Aam Aadmi Party today as well. If there is nothing to hide, why don't you just cooperate with the investigation?
Right, and Ridhima, you know what, I had a word with several Aam Aadmi Party leaders, and they were saying that whatever is happening as per law, they are very much with that particular activity. But as far as this particular activity is concerned, and as far as these searches are concerned, so they are saying that CBI is basically working on the orders that they are getting from the above. Also, above means the BJP leaders. At this point in time, while we talk about the vendetta policy, so they say that CBI, ED, and these agencies are very much managed by the central government, and that's the reason why they are not, very hopeful about these agencies. And that's the reason why, just a few minutes back we saw that Aam Aadmi Party workers, in fact some MLAs of Aam Aadmi Party, were protesting at this particular place. 6 hours is not a very short time. 6 hours have already been passed, and now we're expecting that in some time from now CBI officers would be leaving this particular place, but we haven't got any sort of confirmation. Also, we have learned that they are looking for some specific documents, and this is not the only place where they're searching. They're searching for some specific documents that are linked with the excise policy. And in some time from now, we're expecting that they would be leaving, and we'll be getting some sort of clarity as to what was the investigation all about.
Over 6 hours is what Akash is pointing out since the CBI first reached Manish Sisodia's residence, and we're now getting those first visuals as well. I want to bring in my other colleagues in the conversation as well. Ananya, I want to come to you first. You were bringing us some details a short while ago of how the AAP is already preparing a legal plan. There has been some sort of meetings that have taken place with Kapil Sibal, I believe. What are the details that you're picking up on those lines?
Well, yes, we had broken it down for our viewers, Ridhima, in the morning itself only, that the Aam Aadmi Party is exploring all kind of legal options. The legal team is constantly monitoring all of these developments with regards to the raids being conducted. And since the inception of this idea of recommendation to the Central Bureau of Investigation, they have been monitoring all of this. And now, since the ball has now come in the court of the CBI, searches are being conducted. They are now having meetings with senior lawyers. They are consulting people. The legal team of the Aam Aadmi Party itself is also holding meetings and deliberating upon as to what can be done next into this particular case. As per our sources close to Mr. Sibal and also the Aam Aadmi Party legal cell, they have clarified and confirmed it to us very, very clearly that Mr. Sibal is being consulted with regards to Mr. Manish Sisodia, and in fact he will also appear in the case of Satyendra Jain tomorrow. Another aspect of what has been discussed between the one meeting that has taken place between the senior lawyer and the Aam Aadmi Party legal cell is that what is the course of law available, what is the legal remedies available into the particular aspect when Mr. Sisodia is being talked about, because remember that at this point of time only searches are being conducted. This is a very, very preliminary stage. He has not been arrested. So what he can do is, his legal options remain are that he can go and file for an anticipatory bail application saying that he fears arrest. And as I also pointed out earlier also, he does not need to come out and go and file that bail application. He can just file a wakalatnama and give it to its lawyers, and the same can be processed with, and then the court of law would decide as to whether anticipatory bail should be granted or not. But definitely consultations with senior lawyers are on. In fact, they might also be seeking consultations with Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, because remember, Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi has been constantly appearing for the Aam Aadmi Party government in various matters, whether we talk of the freebies matter in the Supreme Court of India or various other matters. In fact, a very, very important crucial point which I actually missed out is that Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi had appeared for the Delhi government when the challenge was made to the new excise policy of the Delhi government in the Delhi High Court. Various petitions were filed challenging the kind of auctions that had taken place and the kind of tenders that were distributed. And Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi had
So the Aam Aadmi Party wasting no
government.
time, and they're already readying a legal plan, even as CBI officials still continue to be present at Manish Sisodia's residence. Our rolling coverage will continue. I'll request all my colleagues to stay on with us. We're slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
The CBI team is allegedly at Sisodia's home. This is something that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Delhi Chief Minister, is saying.
You know, this is not the first time. They were basically anticipating that CBI would be arresting, but at this point in time, he has tweeted and he has said that CBI is at his house and he is welcoming them.
But the fact that the team is there on ground means that prima facie it finds reasons to believe what LG has recommended, that the excise policy must be looked into by the top investigating agencies.
The CBI is at the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence now, and it can be said that this is a raid by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Place, and since then they are looking for some document, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now in 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further, Aam Aadmi Party is calling it a vendetta politics, and on the other hand, we are seeing BJP, which is calling it a routine investigation, normal investigation, because they are saying that central government has nothing to do with it. CBI is doing its work. Also, this all started with the recommendation that were initiated by a Lieutenant Governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021, and talking about that particular policy, the whole Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and then licenses were given. Initially, it was decided that now we'll be having, liquor shops in the unauthorized colonies as well. But later we had an argument where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the unauthorized colonies, and that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments. In fact, the war of words between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, where BJP on one hand is saying that just because you are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations. That's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है, और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। एबीजी शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं? येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ? व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ? कुछ हुआ इन चीजों में, इन घोटालों में? रेड्डी ब्रदर्स पे कुछ हुआ? गए जेल वो लोग? हुई कोई कार्रवाई? तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का असली चेहरा पूरे देश और दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब हो रहा है।
So that was senior MP Sanjay Singh speaking to CNN News 18, where he has said that all this is being done to demolish the image or the corruption-free image of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now it remains to be seen these raids that have been going on since 8 a.m. What comes out of these raids, and if the Aam Aadmi Party can actually put out its defense on this attack by the central agencies.
उस लूट की बात दिल्ली की जनता कर रही थी, गली गली में महिलाएं कर रही थी, बच्चे कर रहे थे, मंदिरों के सामने, मस्जिदों के सामने, गुरुद्वारों के सामने, देवालयों के सामने बैठे हुए लोग, जहां शराब की दुकानें खुल रही थी, गली गली में शराब की दुकान खोल रही थी, सभी इसकी बात कर रहे थे और पुकार कर रहे थे कि ये बड़ी लूट है, एक बड़ी साजिश है, इस पे इसका दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी होना चाहिए। आज जब से सीबीआई इंक्वायरी हुई, सीबीआई की आज रेड पड़ी है, अब इनको इसमें क्या परेशानी हो?
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We continue to get you rolling coverage in the backdrop of the raids that were conducted earlier in the day at Manish Sisodia's residence in the national capital. Look at the visuals that we're putting out on our screens. Those are first visuals of CBI officials who are still present at Manish Sisodia's residence. All of this in the backdrop of red flags that have been raised as far as the excise policy is concerned, where the allegations are that there was quid pro quo, it costed the exchequer, certain private individuals were also possibly recipients of proceeds of crime. Our colleagues are giving us a 360 perspective, which has also now resulted into a political war of words between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me first bring in my colleague Anvit, who continues to track developments as far as Anand Tiwari's residence is concerned. He again is an individual who's under the scanner as far as agencies are concerned. But Anvit, just for the benefit of our viewers, it's not just the national capital where we're seeing these raids. Multiple other locations that are being raided as well, certain other private individuals under the scanner as well. Do we have any more details as of now who these private individuals are?
See, Ridhima, we only know so far that 21 locations are being raided, and then some of them are public officers while some are private individuals. Details of private individuals CBI is yet to disclose, but as far as we know that the apart from Manish Sisodia, Arav Gopal Krishna, who was the former excise commissioner, and Anand Tiwari, who was deputy excise commissioner, both of them had been suspended earlier. Both of their houses are being raided. Gopi Krishna's house is in Vasant Vihar, where the CBI teams had reached a few hours ago, and we are right outside Anand Tiwari's house, which was where the raids had started around 9 a.m. around in the morning. And these two officials were among those 11 officials who were suspended on August 16. Along with them, 3 ad hoc Danix officers and 6 officials of the Delhi government's excise department were also suspended. Now, when the teams had arrived here, they had also searched Anand Tiwari's car, and they had taken the phones of the family members and the laptops. However, we do not know where these equipments have been seized by the CBI officially or were just scanned through. We do not know if some documents or whatever the searches had been made for, has the CBI got some incriminating documents or not, because the teams had come out but none of the officials spoke to media. Neither of any of the family members have come out yet and spoken to media about what the raids are about. Okay. But following, if we go in the backdrop, it was all on July 8 when the report was submitted by Delhi Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar, accusing Sisodia of providing undue benefits to liquor vends licenses in lieu of kickbacks and commission. It was being said that the money received was used for Punjab elections, and it was then that Delhi LG Vinay Kumar Saxena had recommended a CBI probe, and after which CBI had registered an FIR. So Manish Sisodia and others have been named as accused, but today morning it started, the drama unfolded when CBI started conducting raids at Manish Sisodia's residence and some public officers along with private individuals.
Okay. Anvit, I'll just request you to stay on with us. Our colleagues Arunima and Akash are also now joining us on the broadcast. Arunima, let me come to you first. Now, there are big allegations that are coming in from the BJP as far as 2 other individuals are concerned. One is Dinesh Arora, who I believe is an entrepreneur. Why are these certain individuals raising questions as far as the BJP is concerned?
Yes, so these two individuals have been named by BJP leaders, leaders like Parvesh Verma, leaders like Manjinder Singh Sirsa. They've all been addressing the press and making statements ever since the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi recommended a CBI probe in this matter. What is their charge? That these two private individuals benefited from the Delhi liquor policy. One of the individuals is an entrepreneur, the other is associated with the Aam Aadmi Party's social media team. He was also formerly associated with an entertainment company, event management company. The charge is that when the meetings took place to finalize the liquor policy, Vijay Nair was part of that alleged conspiracy. The charge against him by the Bharatiya Janata Party is that he facilitated layering of their entire policy to escape scrutiny. The charge against Mr. Arora, the entrepreneur, by the Bharatiya Janata Party is that he benefited from this policy. He was getting commission for the L1 licenses. But all of this are just allegations that have been made by BJP leaders. Whether CBI has found substance in these charges or not, whether these charges have been included in the FIR, and are these private individuals and their premises part of the raids that are being carried out. CBI is being extremely tight-lipped. We are repeatedly seeking information about the private individuals who are being searched at the moment. All we have been told is that they are spread across 7 union territories and states, and the 4 government officials details are available. Maybe in the next hour or so, when the searches are reaching their conclusion, CBI will be in a position to give us more details.
True. Arunam, I'll request you to stay on with us. Let me bring in Akash also in the conversation. He's been tracking developments from outside Manish Sisodia's residence, where we showed you those visuals of officials who are still present. Akash, first we want to know, is Manish Sisodia currently at his residence? Because earlier in the day, there was some sort of report suggesting that he possibly isn't in the city. And secondly, any word that we're hearing from CBI officials so far?
So we haven't got any information about this search and about this raid from CBI. This is one point. Secondly, as far as our sources are concerned, so Ridhima, we got to know that Manish Sisodia is very much here and he's inside his house. Day before yesterday he was in Himachal, but at this point in time he is very much inside. Also, talking about this particular policy, we are discussing about this whole development since morning, Ridhima, and this is very much important because Aam Aadmi Party has several arguments, and one argument is that at a time when they were implementing this particular policy, at that time, then LG Anil Baijal raised some sort of questions on that particular policy, and in fact he suggested some of his recommendations, and those recommendations were accepted and those suggestions were taken. But after that, when this policy was finally implemented, when these shops were to open, at that time, just 2 days before, several questions were put, and at that time it was asked that how can you allow liquor shops in non-conforming areas, or we can say unauthorized colonies, because as far as unauthorized colonies are concerned, as per LG, you need to take permission from DDA and from MCD as well. And this, as per Aam Aadmi Party, was the main point because of which they face losses of several thousand crores, because as per them, at that time, the people who got licenses after paying a hefty amount, they were forced to not open the shops at that time, and they went to court, and after that the government had to return all their money, and that's the reason why they face loss. At this point in time, we are seeing a war of words between Aam Aadmi Party and BJP, where BJP is somewhere saying that this is a kind of loot that Aam Aadmi Party is indulged in, and that's the reason why CBI is basically investigating the case. CBI is investigating the case because of the recommendation that were made by LG last month. Also, as far as this particular place is concerned, we are seeing developments since morning, and at this point in time, if I can show you the visuals, there you see the media personals, but inside the gate we are seeing some on and off developments where we are seeing the CBI officials as well.
So
and also,
almost
as far as
over 6 hours, and CBI officials are still present, as Akash is pointing out, at Manish Sisodia's residence. Still no word for them, apparently looking for some documents. We'll continue tracking all these developments. I'll request all our colleagues to stay on with us, slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
You are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations. That's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party Member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला यह है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं? येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ? व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ? कुछ हुआ इन चीजों में, इन घोटालों में? रेड्डी ब्रदर्स पे कुछ हुआ? गए जेल वो लोग? हुई कोई कार्रवाई? तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का असली चेहरा पूरे देश और दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब हो रहा है।
So that was senior MP Sanjay Singh speaking to CNN News 18, where he has said that all this is being done to demolish the image or the corruption-free image of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now it remains to be seen these raids that have been going on since 8 a.m. What comes out of these raids, and if the Aam Aadmi Party can actually put out its defense on this attack by the central agencies.
उस लूट की बात दिल्ली की जनता कर रही थी, गली गली में महिलाएं कर रही थी, बच्चे कर रहे थे, मंदिरों के सामने, मस्जिदों के सामने, गुरुद्वारों के सामने, देवालयों के सामने बैठे हुए लोग, जहां शराब की दुकानें खुल रही थी, गली गली में शराब की दुकान खोल रही थी, सभी इसकी बात कर रहे थे और पुकार कर रहे थे कि ये बड़ी लूट है, एक बड़ी साजिश है, इस पे इसका दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी होना चाहिए। आज जब से CBI इंक्वायरी हुई, CBI की आज रेड पड़ी है। अब इनको इसमें क्या परेशानी हो रही है कि जो भी हुआ है उसका दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी हो।
Akash Sharma is joining me live from Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashri is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party's reaction. Ananya Bhatnagar is at the residence of the Lieutenant Governor. First to you, Akash, any update that you have for us? I believe CBI officials are scrutinizing whatever files, documents they can lay their hands on at Mr. Sisodia's residence.
So, Arunima, this is the only information that we have, that CBI officers are very much inside this particular house. And if I can ask my VJ Vikas to show you the visual, this is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place. And since then, they are looking for some document, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now in 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further, Aam Aadmi Party is calling it a vendetta politics, and on the other hand, we are seeing BJP, which is calling it a routine investigation, normal investigation, because they are saying that central government has nothing to do with it. CBI is doing its work. Also, this all started with the recommendation that were initiated by a Lieutenant Governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021.
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Our rolling coverage continues of the big story that we've been tracking all through since morning, which were raids conducted by the CBI at Manish Sisodia's residence. In fact, 6 hours on, officials are still present at the Delhi minister's residence. Let me bring in my colleagues who've been tracking all these developments for us. Akash has been stationed outside Manish Sisodia's residence. He's joining us. Anvit is also joining us on the broadcast from outside Anand Tiwari's residence, another individual who's under the scanner as far as the agencies are concerned. Akash, let me come to you first and let me bring in some allegations that the BJP is now raising. The big question that they're raising is that, yes, The Aam Aadmi Party can talk all they want as far as the New York Times article is concerned, but we feel it's planted and paid for. Has the Aam Aadmi Party responded to that allegation so far?
Not yet, but Ridhima, this thing is very much clear that they are taking this particular publication as their achievement, because as far as the press conference that was addressed by Arvind Kejriwal is concerned, so he categorically mentioned that this is the very first time when an organization like such has mentioned some system or some model of any government. So they are taking it as an achievement, and also Arvind Kejriwal is saying that he is moving towards towards making India #1, and also he has put out a number on which he is asking for the support. So at this point in time, Aam Aadmi Party is also working on a different tangent, where on one hand we have a development where Aam Aadmi Party leaders are constantly saying that this is the vendetta politics. On the other hand, we have developments where they are saying that this is our achievement just because Manish Sisodia was very much working towards the betterment of Delhi, towards the betterment of children in Delhi, and that's the reason why he is being targeted. And this is not the first time when one of our ministers is targeted. In fact, we have seen that how in Satyenjan's case, in fact, Arvind Kejriwal said that he is a very imandar person and he is very much sure about the particular case, and he'll be walking out freely. But now we are seeing that Satyenjan is in custody from last 1.5 months. Also in this case also Arvind Kejriwal said that now CBI is planning to arrest Manish Sisodia, and this is on the line of the same, where we saw that in the morning at around 8:50.
The point that you're raising is right, that the Aam Aadmi Party is saying that it's not just the Aam Aadmi Party talking about the work that they've done, but the world is today recognizing the work that has been done by the Arvind Kejriwal government. But here also the BJP is actually raising questions, also comparing the article in the New York Times from another publication, saying how come the same words and language has been used. But Anvit, let me bring you in. I also want to understand quickly, for the benefit of our viewers, what is the money trail that the agencies are currently looking into?
See, Ridhima, it has been alleged that the liquor licenses that were given to liquor vends, they were given the procedure was not followed, and the money that was recovered, gotten from distributing these licenses to some particular liquor vends, that was used in Punjab election. This was earlier alleged in the report that was filed by the Chief Secretary of Delhi, and following that, when LG had recommended that a CBI probe must be, CBI must look into it and CBI probe must be started. That was the time when CBI registered an FIR and Manish Sisodia was named into it as an accused, and other 11 officials who were later suspended by LG. That included Chief Commissioner of Commissioner Arvind Gopi Krishna and this Deputy Commissioner Anand Tiwari. And right now we are outside Anand Tiwari's house where CBI is conducting raids, and this is the place where teams had come around 9 AM in the morning. So this was the lead which is being probed. They are finding out whether the licenses that were given inappropriately, what kickbacks have been received, what commissions have been received, and based on that the probe is being done. However, the teams have not yet come out, or any official word has not come out from the agency saying that what incriminating documents or money trail has been recovered. But this is what they are probing right now, and they are trying to find out the money that was recovered, because the allegations were that it was used in Punjab elections. Also, crores of rupees that was alleged that had been gained through illegal means and through misappropriation of license vends. That is what the CBI is probing right now. And this is the vehicle, the visuals that we are getting in, which the Tiwari said to be Tiwari's car, which also CBI officers had in the morning searched to find out if they get something from here. So these are all the allegations, and along with Tiwari and Gopi Krishnan, there were 9 other officials, which included at least 3 ad hoc Dainik officers and 6 officials of the Delhi government excise department who were also suspended. So these are the roles that the CBI is
So multiple private individuals under the scanner, but also more importantly a senior minister from the Aam Aadmi Party government also under the scanner. Anvit and Akash, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We'll continue to track all these developments, but for now it's a wrap from my side. We're slipping into a very short break. Thanks a lot for watching.
Initiated by a lieutenant governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021, and talking about that particular policy, the whole Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and then licenses were given. Initially, it was decided that now we'll be having, liquor shops in the unauthorized colonies as well. But later we had an argument where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the authorized colonies, and that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments. In fact, the war of words between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, where BJP on one hand is saying that just because you are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations. That's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है, और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं? येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ? व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ? कुछ हुआ इन चीजों में, इन घोटालों में? रेड्डी ब्रदर्स पे कुछ हुआ? गए जेल वो लोग? हुई कोई कार्रवाई?
Good afternoon. It's 3 o'clock. You continue to be with us here at CNN News 18. I'm Ridhima Bhatnagar. Straight to our top focus. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been charged by the CBI with criminal conspiracy in connection with the Delhi Excise Policy. He's been charged with violating the excise policy, lapses in policy implementation and giving undue benefit to license holders. Now, responding to this situation, Manish Sisodia has claimed that he is being harassed for doing some great work. He also said that he will not be brought down by conspiracies. The Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal stood behind his deputy, saying that he is extremely proud of the work in the national capital, especially because he was featured on the front page of the New York Times on the 18th of August. As per Enforcement Directorate sources, the ED will be asking for the CBI's FIR against Sisodia, and the agency will be registering an ECIR related to action against Manish Sisodia. Let me bring in our colleagues as well. Let me first bring in my colleague Akash, who's been tracking all developments for us from outside Manish Sisodia's residence. Akash, as you were pointing to us last time around, it's been over 6 hours since the CBI officials are still present at Manish Sisodia's residence. Have you seen any movement around you, and have you gotten a glimpse of the minister himself?
Right, so it has been 7 hours now, Ridhima, and we are seeing on and off developments inside. When we are trying to see inside, so we are seeing developments. In fact, just a few minutes back, I saw Manish Sisodia was very much inside, and let me tell you that it was 8:15 in the morning when it all got started, and Manish Sisodia was the one who informed us putting a tweet out that, CBI officers have basically reached his house and are basically searching the premise. But at this point in time, if I can ask my camera person Ravindra to show you the visuals, if we can show the developments inside, if you can see the activities inside, because we have been told that CBI officers may leave in some time from now, and they are still searching for some sort of documents, some sort of evidences in concern with the excise policy. And the FIR that is registered in this particular case, in that FIR, in fact, Manish Sisodia is one of the accused. And this is something big. This is not something very small, because Manish Sisodia is a sitting minister. He is the deputy chief minister. He has 18 to 19 portfolios with him at this point in time, and he's an important minister. As far as the political situation is concerned, we are seeing the political war of words. As I mentioned earlier, BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, both parties are alleging each other and saying that the second party is doing vendetta politics. And on the other hand, we have BJP, which is saying clearly that this is the kind of loot that Aam Aadmi Party leaders are involved in. And at this point in time, this is the routine investigation that CBI is conducting. And then after, then also, Aam Aadmi Party is having problem, because they know that, their minister is guilty. And that's the reason why, we are seeing developments where straight from Saurabh Bharadwaj and Atishi to Arvind Kejriwal himself, they have addressed the press conference, and they have said categorically that at this point in time, the CBI team will be finding nothing, because Manish Sisodia is someone who has done a lot, and he is not a person who can be found in corruption. At this point in time, we are waiting for the developments here outside the residence of Manish Sisodia, where in fact in some time from now, we're expecting that CBI officers would be leaving, because it has been 7 hours since when CBI officers are searching for the relevant documents and relevant evidences in concern with this particular case, Ridhima.
Akash, let's talk about the allegations as to why we're seeing this action against various ministers of the Aam Aadmi Party. Red flags being raised as far as the implementation of the excise policy is concerned. There are also questions being raised as to why the LG was kept out of the loop. More importantly, if the Aam Aadmi Party had so much confidence in their policy, why did they resort to going back to an older one? How is the Aam Aadmi Party responding specifically to these allegations?
Right. So, at a time when this decision was taken that they are going to old policy, at that time, Manish Sisodia, who is the Deputy Chief Minister and also the Excise Minister, clarified that at this point in time, not only the license holders are tendering the licenses, but also the officers are getting some sort of threatening messages, where it has been said that, if you won't be cooperating, or if you won't be backing out from this particular policy, then, ED and CBI officers would be sent to your house as well. In fact, these were the allegations where Aam Aadmi Party said that now they'll be, working on a new policy for betterment, because at that point in time it was also said that LG, who was the previous Anil Baijal, did not let Aam Aadmi Party to implement the policy fully, and that's the reason why they faced several 1,000 crores losses. And at that time it was said that for 1 month we are extending the new excise policy, but then the old policy would be implemented for next 6 months till the time they are framing the new one. So at this point in time, it has been clearly said that just because Aam Aadmi Party government was not allowed to implement the policy fully, and also because the vendors and license holders and also the officers were receiving threatening calls, threatening messages, that was the main reason why they rolled back to the old policy. And at this point in time, the new policy is in force, but after this month we'll be seeing the old policy implementation only.
True. Akash, I'll request you to stay on with us. We'll continue to come back to you. Let's listen in to some political reactions. More importantly, let's listen in to what the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal had to say.
पूरी दुनिया के सबसे शक्तिशाली देश के सबसे बड़े अखबार के फ्रंट पेज के ऊपर भारत के बारे में इतनी अच्छी खबर छपना, दिल्ली के बारे में इतनी अच्छी खबर छपना, इस खबर में मनीष सिसोदिया जी की फोटो छपी है। आज मनीष सिसोदिया को दुनिया का सबसे अच्छा शिक्षा मंत्री घोषित किया गया, लेकिन उसके घर सीबीआई पहुंच के रेड मारने के लिए। कई झूठे केस कर चुके मनीष जी के ऊपर, मेरे ऊपर कई बार रेड कर चुके, सतिंदर जैन पे, कैलाश गहलोत पे, हमारे कितने लोगों पे ये लोग रेड कर चुके, कुछ नहीं मिला, अभी भी कुछ नहीं मिलेगा। तो सीबीआई अपना काम कर रही है, उसे घबराने की जरूरत नहीं है। सीबीआई को हम अपना काम करने दें। उनको ऊपर से आदेश हैं कि भाई इनको तंग करना है, ऊपर से आदेश हैं, अड़चने अड़ाओ, अड़चने आएंगी, काम नहीं रुकेगा।
Thanks a lot for staying with our rolling coverage. I also want to go across to BJP MP Gautam Gambhir now joining us. Gautam, thanks a lot for your time. We've heard what you've said earlier. I'm sure you've heard what many Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons and leaders have said, and we just played out a snippet of what the Chief Minister is saying. But I first want to pinpointedly talk about the excise policy and the scam around it. The Aam Aadmi Party has said that there have been unintentional bad effects of the excise policy. They have in many ways accepted that on ground this policy created issues, but it was unintended. And they have also made allegations against the former Lieutenant Governor that it was because of his last-minute intervention that this unlevel playing field came about and the policy became skewed. So that's the defense that they are presenting.
Aren't you guys tired of listening to all this cheap politics since last 7 years? It is absolutely shameful that they've gone back. If they were so crystal clear and absolutely black and white, they shouldn't have gone back on the liquor policy. They shouldn't have taken back the liquor policy. If the policy was so beneficial for Delhi or so beneficial for anyone. My main concern is that they've been playing this kind of cheap politics for the last 7 years. And the media has been able to create this narrative for them that they've done so much in the last 7 years for Delhi. It is a simple question. Tell me in the last 7 years how many school, colleges, hospitals, how much money has been spent on infrastructure, and have they been able to make Delhi like a world-class city? It is such a shame that every penny, a hard-earned money of a taxpayer, have gone for all the advertisement and all the ads which we keep on seeing on the news channels, keep on seeing on those big hoardings and stuff. This CM of Delhi has been created by media, which is such a pity for the people of Delhi. They had so much of hopes from the people, from the CM of Delhi, and he's done nothing for the people of Delhi, which is such a shame.
Okay, Gauti, I'll come to the charge that the Aam Aadmi Party is making and what you're referring to the Delhi model and how they're defending it. But you know, the point I'm making is that
Shivani, can I just ask you one question? What is this Delhi model? They keep talking about Delhi model. They keep giving such huge, massive ads about Delhi model. What exactly is Delhi model? Through your medium, I just want to check one thing. Tell me, is Delhi a world-class city? Delhi has never looked this tired, what it has looked in last 7 years. All the previous CMs, I'm not going to politicize that, all the previous CMs have worked so much for the people of Delhi. I have never seen Delhi. I've been born and brought up in Delhi. I've lived 40 years of my life in Delhi. In last 7 years, Delhi has looked completely a different city, and the prime responsibility and the prime accused in making Delhi like what Delhi is today is unfortunately the CM of Delhi, which has done nothing apart from just showing his face day in, day out on the news channels and giving those massive ads which has been created by media and the news channel and sorry, the newspapers.
Okay, but the point is that the Aam Aadmi Party is saying that while they're not fully defending the excise policy, it's clear that something went wrong. Are you alleging that there is personal corruption involved here? Are you alleging that Manish Sisodia and the Delhi government deliberately did this to fill their coffers?
100%. Absolutely. And the main reason behind doing all that was because they wanted to make money out of the liquor policy so that they could contest the elections in Punjab with the support of the Khalistanis, and that is exactly the reason why they were able to form their government in Punjab. There was no other reason. No new school, no new college, no new hospital, no new DTC buses in Delhi, but there were more than 600 liquor shops in Delhi. In 7 years, nothing new has happened apart from just opening liquor shops. What was the reason? Just before the Punjab elections, so that they can earn money from these excise policy and fight those elections in Punjab. So they've made the people of Delhi, they made a fool of people of Delhi, and they've earned whatever they could. This is exactly the blatant reason why they've done this corruption, so that they can form a government or probably can contest the elections in Punjab.
Okay.
Nothing, there was no other reason why they should have opened so many liquor shops in Delhi.
Okay, because you know, then this is no longer just about procedural lapses or norms not being followed. Your allegation, the BJP's allegation, is that it was done deliberately to earn money so that it can be funded, it can be used to fund the elections in Punjab for the Aam Aadmi Party. But you must have also heard, Gautam, what they said today.
200%.
You must have also heard today what they're saying. They're linking this raid against Manish Sisodia to the report on their education model in an international paper.
You tell me, Shivani, one thing. It's a very, very clear. I just want to ask one question. Tell me, in last 7 years, you live in Delhi or probably in the NCR as well. Be absolutely honest. Not even one single new school, college, hospital has been opened in Delhi in last 7 years. And they talk about this education model. Can you send your child in a government school? Can you send someone in a government hospital? No, you can't. So what model are you talking about? What world-class education are you talking about? Without opening a school, you're saying that they want to open a school throughout the country without opening a single school in Delhi? Just because they're able to spend so much of money on advertisement and the media has been able to create that narrative, we are not fighting against a man. We are fighting against a shadow. We are fighting against a shadow that is created by media. If we were fighting against a man, we would have defeated him much easily, or probably we would have defeated him long time back. A man that is created by media, a man that has been giving huge funding to the media and has been created, that is where the problem is. No one wants to question him, and he doesn't want to come out and open and answer that.
Okay.
He can come out and open even once and say that how many colleges and schools and hospitals has he opened in Delhi. And through your medium, I'll apologize if he comes out with a figure. He never comes out with a single figure, and he never comes out and explains that yes, these many schools have been opened. And you talk about world-class education. Without education, without schools, how can there be an education? Without hospitals, how can there be a health infrastructure or medical infrastructure? Through Mohalla Clinic, is Mohalla Clinic a world-class health infrastructure? Be honest. I'm being absolutely honest. Absolutely not. It's only a gimmick. It's only an advertisement kind of a thing as well, which is a shame, which is very unfortunate for the people of Delhi, and I'm sure people of Delhi will realize it in coming years.
But the argument that the Aam Aadmi Party is making is that, you are targeting the Aam Aadmi Party. The BJP is using central agencies, whether it's Satendra Jain or Manish Sisodia, because you are worried about how well the Aam Aadmi Party is doing beyond Delhi. And recently, Aam Aadmi Party has made no bones about the fact that it is Arvind Kejriwal versus Narendra Modi in 2024.
Without any MP in Lok Sabha. It's Arvind Kejriwal versus the Prime Minister, without having a single MP in Lok Sabha. You can dream whatever you want to. Just by giving ads, you don't become a Prime Minister candidate. And Aam Aadmi Party, what Aam Aadmi Party is talking about? Today, if you can send any agency to my office or to my residence, I won't be scared because I'm absolutely crystal clear. I live my life in black and white. I can face any agency because I haven't done anything wrong. If Manish Sisodia hasn't done anything wrong, why create so much of panic? Why do so many press conferences? Why? Are you scared of any agency? You don't need to because you haven't done anything wrong. Am I scared of any agency? No, I'm not because I haven't done anything wrong. Why should he be scared then if he hasn't done anything wrong? Because he's done something slimy, he's done some deals under the table, that's why he's scared. Just because you're now scared of getting exposed in front of the whole country, that's why you're getting scared of the agencies. No honest man in this country should ever be scared of any agencies, and that is absolutely clear. I am not, you won't be, a lot of people won't be because we haven't done anything wrong. He is because he's done something under the table.
Okay, all right. This is going to be a big test even as far as the agencies are concerned, because Gautam, I'm sure you're also aware that a lot of these raids are happening against a lot of opposition leaders, and all of them are coming out and saying that only we are getting raided. And if these cases don't reach a conclusion, and if they don't really reach a conclusion where you can say, yes, corruption happened, then it makes the agencies look bad.
Let the agencies do their job. My only thing is that if agencies are doing their job and you're absolutely clean, you don't need to panic. You don't need to create something like what Aam Aadmi Party is doing in Delhi. Getting detained, doing these press conferences, coming out and playing again a victim card, all this. No, I think you can't make people people of Delhi fool anymore. You've done it in the last 7 years. That's a long time. Simple.
Okay.
Let the agencies do their job and we'll get to know what the results are. My thing is that it is a blatant thing that they have made money under the table so that they can fight elections in Punjab, as simple as it gets.
Okay,
There is nothing beyond that.
Can I ask you a final question then?
For a very long time.
Can I ask you a final question then? Are you alleging that the man at the helm of the party and the Delhi government itself, which is Arvind Kejriwal, are you alleging that this corruption goes to him? Is that your charge?
I don't want to say, because at the moment agencies are investigating the deputy CM and let the truth come out and we'll get to know that. I have no right, and I should not be blaming someone whose name hasn't come in open. So what agencies are doing, let them do it, and you'll get to the crux of the matter. You'll get to the final stage, and then you'll get to know what exactly happened. And I hope he's not able to manage the media, because that's what he's doing in the last 7 years.
All right. All right, Gautam Gambhir, thanks a lot for joining us. I believe Saurabh Bhardwaj of the Aam Aadmi Party is also speaking now. Let's go across to him.
ये मैंने हाईलाइट किया करणदीप सिंह, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स फ्रंट पेज न्यूज, हिंदुस्तान के लिए गर्व की खबर। खलीज टाइम्स नाम लिखा हुआ है, वही नाम, और नीचे लिखा हुआ है, मैंने ब्लू कलर से हाईलाइट कर दिया। खलीज टाइम्स में आर्टिकल के नीचे लिखा हुआ है कर्टसी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स। जैसे पीटीआई की खबर और एएनआई की खबर और यूटीआई की खबर, एजेंसी की खबर अलग अलग अखबारों में कर्टसी डाल के छापी जाती है, ऐसे ही अंतरराष्ट्रीय अखबारों के बीच में इस तरीके का समन्वय होता है। इस तरीके की बहुत सारी कॉमन न्यूज होती है जो एक अखबार में छपती है और कई अखबारों में उसका क्रेडिट देके वो खबर छापी जाती है। और यहां पे तो राइटर ने नाम भी अपना दिया है, दोनों जगह नाम दिया है, उसी आदमी की खबर है। न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अंदर खबर है, खलीज टाइम्स ने कहा कर्टसी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स। ये तो बड़ी अजीब बात हो गई। मतलब सास भी कभी बहू थी अगर सोनी पे आ रहा है, क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी, ये ज्यादा समझते हैं, और वो अगले महीने या अगले साल किसी और चैनल पे आ गए, कहेंगे तो पेड न्यूज है। ये क्या इनका तर्क क्या है, मैं समझ नहीं पा रहा। अच्छा, पेड की बात पे आ जाते हैं। हिंदुस्तान की सबसे अमीर पार्टी कौन सी है? भारतीय जनता पार्टी है। ये खुद बताते हैं। इनको जितनी डोनेशन मिलती है उससे ज्यादा डोनेशन किसी के पास नहीं। भारत के हर डिस्ट्रिक्ट में इनका ऑफिस है, और छोटा मोटा ऑफिस नहीं है, 5 स्टार होटल जैसा ऑफिस है इनका। नोटबंदी के समय में इनके ऑफिस बने, ईश्वर जानता है कैसे बने। इनके पास इतना पैसा है, भारतीय जनता पार्टी वालों के पास पैसा है। भाई तुमने क्यों ना छपवा ली 8 सालों में खबर अपनी पेड न्यूज? आप तो मास्टर हो, पैसा देने में पैसा आपके पास है, आपने क्यों नहीं छपवा ली? एक छपी थी मोदी जी की इसके अंदर, अब मैं बताना नहीं चाहता कि उसमें मोदी जी के बारे में क्या लिखा था, आप छपवा लीजिए। न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स वालों से हमने संपर्क किया और सुबह से न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स वाले इतना परेशान हैं, ये लोग बार बार न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के यहां फोन कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग माध्यमों से फोन करा रहे हैं कि किसी तरीके से हमारी खबर भी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स छाप दे, इनकी फोटो न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स छाप दे, इनकी कोशिश चल रही है। पैसे का ऑफर दिया जा चुका है, $1 मिलियन देंगे, हमारी खबर छाप दो। मैं चैलेंज देना चाहता हूं अपने मित्रों को, आपको मैं चैलेंज दे रहा हूं। हमारी तो छोटी सी पार्टी है, 8 साल पुरानी पार्टी है, हमारा न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अंदर खबर छप गई। खबर से बड़ी बात यह है, और खबर में इतनी खुशी नहीं हुई मुझे जितनी खुशी इनके पेट के दर्द से हुई मुझे, कि इनके पेट में इतना दर्द हो गया कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अंदर आम आदमी पार्टी की खबर छप गई। मैं इनको चैलेंज देता हूं, इनको चुनौती देता हूं, आपके पास जितना पैसा है आप उड़ेल दीजिए, आप में जितनी ताकत है आप अपनी ताकत लगा लीजिए। कल आप अपनी खबर छपवा के दिखा दो न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के फ्रंट पेज पे, हम भी मान जाएंगे। भाई अगर पेड न्यूज है तो आपके पास तो पैसा हमसे बहुत ज्यादा है, आप छपवा के दिखा दो विश्व गुरु की फोटो, कल आप छपवा दो न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अंदर। ये खुली चुनौती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को मैं देके जा रहा हूं। मुझे बहुत दुख है इस बात का, जिस बात पे भारतीय जनता पार्टी को फक्र होना चाहिए था, देश के हर नागरिक को फक्र होना चाहिए था, दुनिया के कोने कोने में बैठे हिंदुस्तानी को फक्र हो रहा है कि जहां अंतर्राष्ट्रीय खबरों में भारत की गरीबी की खबरें छपा करती थी, भारत में हो रहे बलात्कारों की खबरें छपा करती थी, भारत की बुराइयों की खबरें छपा करती थी, भारत की सरकार की नाकामियों की खबरें छपा करती थी, और वहां रह रहे भारतीयों का सर नीचा हुआ करता था, आंख नीची हुआ करती थी। आज उस अंतर्राष्ट्रीय अखबार के अंदर भारत के एक राज्य दिल्ली में हो रही शिक्षा क्रांति की खबर छपी है। भारत के सरकारी स्कूलों के क्लासरूम की खबर छपी है। क्लासरूम में पढ़ रहे गरीब बच्चों के छोटे छोटे जो उनके सपने हैं उनकी खबर आज न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के अंदर छपी है। आज एक बात तो तय हो गई, आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी जिस तरह से हमलावर है आम आदमी पार्टी पे, जिस तरह से हमारे नेताओं को जेल में डालने की होड़ भारतीय जनता पार्टी के अंदर लगी हुई है, मुझे लगता है ये बात तय हो गई 2024 के अंदर जो चुनाव होने जा रहा है वो आम आदमी पार्टी बनाम भारतीय जनता पार्टी होने जा रहा है। और ये तय हमने नहीं किया, ये आज भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने जो सुबह से इन्होंने उठक पटक की है उससे ये बात इन्होंने तय कर दी और मैं देश के लोगों को इसके लिए बधाई देना चाहता हूँ। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
सौरभ जी, बीजेपी का ये आरोप है कि दोनों ही न्यूज़पेपर में जो खबर छपी है वर्ड टू वर्ड एक ही खबर है, फोटोग्राफ्स भी एक ही है। इस हिसाब से वो लोग कह रहे हैं कि एडिटोरियल है, आप लोगों ने पैसे देके छपाए हैं।
भैया जब हम बता रहे हैं एक ही लेखक की खबर है, लेखक का नाम लिखा हुआ है, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स प्राइमरी अखबार है, उसी की खबर को क्या नाम है इस अखबार का, खलीज टाइम्स, इसने छापा और बाकायदा लिखा हुआ है, उसमें तो छपा हुआ है, कर्टसी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स उसने लिख दिया। जब एक अखबार से खबर बोरो करके दूसरे अखबार के अंदर छपी है तो वो खबर तो वैसी ही होगी ना भाई। आप क्या एएनआई की खबर, मैं आपको एक उदाहरण देता हूं। आज मैंने हल्की नीले रंग की शर्ट में सुबह अपने घर के बाहर एएनआई के अंदर बाइट दी। मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर के बाहर रेड पड़ी, एएनआई एक न्यूज एजेंसी है, मैंने उसको बाइट दी। ये उसका माइक है एएनआई। आप सभी चैनल्स पे देख लीजिए, 11 बजे से लेकर 1 बजे तक मेरी जितनी खबरें आई हैं सभी चैनल्स पे, चाहे वो टाइम्स नाउ हो, चाहे वो एनडीटीवी हो, चाहे वो जी न्यूज हो, चाहे वो न्यूज नेशन हो, चाहे वो इंडिया टीवी हो, चाहे वो नवभारत हो, चाहे वो न्यूज 24 हो, सब पे यही वाला माइक दिख रहा है। आप कहेंगे कि यही खबर सब पे पास आ गई, ये तो पेड न्यूज हो गई। अब मैं कहूंगा इनको अनपढ़, ये बुरा मानेंगे। अब बताइए मैं क्या गलत कह रहा हूं?
न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स न्यूज एजेंसी नहीं है।
न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स न्यूज एजेंसी नहीं है, मगर न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का नाम इसके इस खबर में छपा हुआ है, कर्टसी न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, इस पे छपा हुआ है, ये लिखिए नीचे। मुझे बड़ी खुशी है कि आप इतने सवाल पूछ रहे हैं, क्योंकि ये सारे सवाल भारतीय जनता पार्टी पूछेंगे, क्योंकि आप किसी के साथ तर्क तो कर सकते हैं, कुतर्क कैसे करोगे भाई? आप कहीं जा रहे हो, कोई समझदार आदमी मिल जाए, वो कहे बहस करो इनसे, आप बहस कर सकते हो, बहस हो जाएगी। आप किसी बेवकूफ से कह दोगे किससे बहस करो, आप उससे कितनी देर भी बहस करते रहो, उससे कोई फर्क ही नहीं पड़ेगा। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी वाले सब इस तरीके की बातें करते हैं। इसीलिए बिल्कुल हिंदी में, सामान्य भाषा में एएनआई का उदाहरण देते हुए, पीटीआई का उदाहरण देते हुए मैंने समझाया है, एक खबर 2 अखबारों में छपती है, कई बार 10-10 अखबारों के अंदर छपती है। और कोई सवाल है? अब देखिए कि क्या ना, कई इलाज बीमारियां ऐसी होती है जिनका इलाज ही संभव नहीं है। भारतीय जनता पार्टी का कोई इलाज नहीं है। दिल्ली की शिक्षा क्रांति खबर खालिस्तान छपवा रहा है। क्यों भाई? खालिस्तान को और कोई काम नहीं है कि वो दिल्ली की शिक्षा नीति की खबर छपवा रहा है? मतलब अजीबोगरीब बातें जो हैं वो भारतीय जनता पार्टी से करा लो, जितनी कर सकते हैं कितनी भी करा दे। अभी तो खालिस्तान की बात निकल कहेंगे आईएसआई छपवा रहा है, फिर कहेंगे कोई और छपवा रहा है। आईटी सेल के अंदर उग्रवादी मिले इनके आईटी सेल में, और हम छपवा रहे हैं खालिस्तान की खबरें। अकाली दल के साथ सरकार इन्होंने चलाई इतने सालों तक, हमारे लिए खालिस्तान खबर छपवा रहा, बड़ी अजीब बात है। और बताइए, अब अगली पीसी के अंदर मुलाकात होगी। मगर मैंने पीसी का टॉपिक बदल
from the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, Saurabh, who's in fact lashed out as far as the allegations made by the BJP. Essentially, what the BJP has said that yes, the Aam Aadmi Party is tom-tomming about the article that has been published in the New York Times, but they're saying how come another publication, the Khaleej Times, has also published a similar article with the exact same words. Now, the defense that has come from the Aam Aadmi Party is that in fact they've given courtesy to the New York Times. So yes, it's the same article, it's just been picked up by different publications. All of this in the backdrop of the raids that we saw by the CBI this morning at Manish Sisodia's residence, which on expected lines has resulted into a political war of words between the BJP and the Aam Aadmi Party. My colleagues Akash and Anvit continue to be with us. Okay, we'll try and re-establish the connection with my colleagues, but the BJP is saying that this is what we've been saying from day one. This is a corrupt government. If you have nothing to hide, why don't you just cooperate as far as the investigation is concerned? The Aam Aadmi Party and even the other opposition parties, they've all come together in saying that this is a witch hunt, this is vendetta politics. Today, the central government continues to misuse agencies like the ED and the CBI. But we just heard from BJP MP Gautam Gambhir, who was speaking to CNN News 18. He in fact is saying that this Delhi model that the Aam Aadmi Party talks about is a farce because the reality on ground is very, very different. My colleague Rupashri Nanda now joining us on the broadcast, tracks developments of the Aam Aadmi Party. Rupashri, let's break it down allegation by allegation. The first allegation that has come from the BJP is as far as this article that was published in the New York Times. They've picked up other publications also and are saying that how come the same language is being used across publications. So the allegation is that this is paid for and planted.
Yeah, there are just 2 points I would like to make. Number one is a reputed publication like New York Times, will it accept a paid article and publish it on its first page? That is the number one question that I as a journalist would like to ask. Number two, you just heard what Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson Saurabh Bhardwaj has now said. He is essentially saying that this is an article that was published in the New York Times and was picked up by Khaleej Times, which has given credit to New York Times, and that is a possibility that may happen. It sometimes happens that when a story is excellent or when a story is considered to be newsworthy by other publications, publications do pick up each other's stories. But that if the government wants to investigate that further, it is very well welcome to do that. But that is the position of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now, Raghav Chadha also has actually clearly said and tried to counter the BJP by saying that if it is so easy to publish an article in the New York Times by giving money, then the BJP has a lot of money, it can also do that, and that is a sort of a response that came in also from Saurabh Bhardwaj, who is from the Aam Aadmi Party. Now remember, Ridhima, I'm just standing in front of Arvind Kejriwal's residence since morning, and everything that you see unfolding in terms of press conferences, who is going to speak, when that person is going to speak, what is the line that the person is going to be going to take is all essentially coming from the Chief Minister's residence just behind me. And even though there are no people over here, all the strategy that is being devised and that is played out or is playing out in Delhi is essentially coming from the Chief Minister's residence here in the national capital. Now, what is Aam Aadmi Party trying to do over here? Aam Aadmi Party clearly, as Sanjay Singh's tweet just now pointed out, is trying to turn this into a Modi versus Kejriwal battle ahead of 2024. Now, you remember a few days back we also saw similar raids happening against or questioning happening of the Congress leaders. You saw the Congress MP Rahul Gandhi being called in for questioning, interim President Sonia Gandhi being called in for questioning, and the same sort of defense was put up by the Congress party also. Now, because this is a case and this has taken a serious turn, why am I saying that? Because an FIR has already been filed. If Sisodia will be arrested, then it is definitely going to go to the court. Then it will be up to the courts and courts only to decide or pronounce whether Sisodia is guilty or innocent. Until then, you can expect the BJP to completely try and cash in on this particular moment and try and dent Aam Aadmi Party's image that it has tried to build of an honest party. That is the USP of the Aam Aadmi Party as per Aam Aadmi Party's own leaders, and that is exactly where the BJP is trying to hurt the Aam Aadmi Party the most. Essentially, shake the party from the pedestal. But you also saw Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal when he addressed that press conference, except for 2 lines on this raids on Sisodia, saying that he is going to come out clean. Raids have happened before, nothing has come out so far. he essentially pitched his argument or pitched his address to the people of the country. He also, like the BJP, is trying to cash in on this moment to garner support for his party, building on the argument that this is pure vendetta.
Okay.
But remember, I'm trying to come back
So
to the
political
same point
war of
over and
words
over
there
again.
continues, where the Aam Aadmi Party continues to say that this is just a witch hunt, they have nothing to hide, and this is vendetta politics. Rupashi will request you to stay on with us. I'll request my other colleagues also to stay on with us. Our rolling coverage continues. We're slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई, छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या। नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं। येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ, व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ इन चीजों में, इन घोटालों में। रेड्डी ब्रदर्स पे कुछ हुआ, गए जेल वो लोग, हुई कोई कार्रवाई। तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का असली चेहरा पूरे देश और दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब हो रहा है।
So that was senior MP Sanjay Singh speaking to CNN News 18, where he has said that all this is being done to demolish the image or the corruption-free image of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now it remains to be seen these raids that have been going on since 8 a.m. What comes out of these raids, and if the Aam Aadmi Party can actually put out its defense on this attack by the central agencies.
उस लूट की बात दिल्ली की जनता कर रही थी, गली गली में महिलाएं कर रही थी, बच्चे कर रहे थे, मंदिरों के सामने, मस्जिदों के सामने, गुरुद्वारों के सामने, देवालयों के सामने बैठे हुए लोग, जहां शराब की दुकानें खुल रही थी, गली गली में शराब की दुकान खोल रही थी, सभी इसकी बात कर रहे थे और पुकार कर रहे थे कि ये बड़ी लूट है, एक बड़ी साजिश है, इस पे इसका दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी होना चाहिए। आज जब से CBI इंक्वायरी हुई, CBI की आज रेड पड़ी है। अब इनको इसमें क्या परेशानी हो रही है कि जो भी हुआ है उसका दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी हो।
Akash Sharma is joining me live from Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashri is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party's reaction. Ananya Bhatnagar is at the residence of the Lieutenant Governor. First to you, Akash, any update that you have for us? I believe CBI officials are scrutinizing whatever files, documents they can lay their hands on at Mr. Sisodia's residence.
So, Arunima, this is the only information that we have, that CBI officers are very much inside this particular house. And if I can ask my VJ Vikas to show you the visual, this is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place. And since then, they are looking for some document, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now, and 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further,
बच्चों की करुण पुकार के बाद CBI इंक्वायरी शुरू है और आज मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर पे रेड है। रेड कहें, पूछताछ कहें, जानकारी कहें, ये सब जो भी हो रहा है, इसका दिल्ली के हर महिला ने, हर बच्चे ने इसका स्वागत किया है। हम भी इसका स्वागत करते हैं। कहते हैं कि जो सांच है उसको किसी बात की आँच नहीं है। आज मैं आप सबको एक छोटी सी जानकारी देना चाहता हूं कि जब शराब नीति पर सीबीआई इंक्वायरी के बाद ये रेड पड़ी है, तो अक्सर आम आदमी पार्टी के नेता ये कह रहे हैं, मेरा न्यूयॉर्क टाइम में छपा है, वो जरा पढ़ो, मेरा ये स्वास्थ्य नीति है। अरे भाई, ये जो सीबीआई की इंक्वायरी हो रही है, सीबीआई की रेड शराब नीति पे है, ये किसी शिक्षा नीति स्वास्थ्य नीति पे नहीं है। ये जो आपकी शराब नीति थी उसके ऊपर सीबीआई इंक्वायरी हुई थी 22 जुलाई 2022 को, और आज जो भी रेड है उसमें शराब नीति का जवाब दो। अब कई लोग जो इसको सिलसिलेवार ढंग से समझना चाहते होंगे, उनके लिए मैं छोटी सी जानकारी देना चाहता हूं कि ये शुरू हुआ था 2021 के मई में, जब हमारा दिल्ली कोरोना के भारी चपेट में, हमें ऑक्सीजन की समस्या हो रही थी, हमारे लोग मर रहे थे, सभी दिल्ली परेशान थी, पूरा देश परेशान था। उस समय कोरोना का इलाज कैसे हो, ऑक्सीजन कैसे आए, इसकी बजाय मनीष सिसोदिया जी शराब नीति बनाने में मशगूल थे और दिल्ली के शराब व्यापारियों का सरकार को मिलने वाला जो फीस था 145 करोड़, उसको छूट दे दिया। दिल्ली कैबिनेट ने सिसोदिया जी को शराब नीति में मनमाने बदलाव करने की उसी मई 2021 में गैर कानूनी मंजूरी भी दे दी। तब एलजी ने इस पे आपत्ति दर्ज किया। जब एलजी ने आपत्ति दर्ज की तो इनको लगा रही तो बड़ा गड़बड़ हो गया, तो इन लोगों ने कैबिनेट से वो फैसला वापस ले लिया। लेकिन गैर कानूनी शराब माफियाओं के, लिकर माफियाओं के पक्ष में ये लगातार नियम बनाते रहे, उनको सहायता देते रहे। क्योंकि कैबिनेट से फैसला वापस ले लिया था, इसलिए इसकी लीगैलिटी पे बहुत बड़ा क्वेश्चन मार्क था। और 8 जुलाई 2022 को दिल्ली के चीफ सेक्रेटरी ने एलजी से शिकायत की और बताया कि कैसे सिसोदिया जी के गैर कानूनी ऑर्डर से सरकार को भारी नुकसान हो रहा है। क्योंकि आप सबकी जानकारी में होगा, मैं वंस अगेन आई वांट टू रिपीट, कि इनकी इस शराब नीति से शराब की बिक्री 60% से 87% बढ़ गई, लेकिन दिल्ली सरकार का राजस्व 80% घट गया। ये कौन सी शराब नीति थी? इन लोग कसीदे काढ़ने में इतने आगे थे, आप सभी यहां पत्रकार जो भाई हैं उनको भी पता है, और जो टीवी चैनलों के मार्फत सोशल मीडिया से जो लोग सुन रहे हैं उनको भी पता है कि कैसा बढ़ चढ़ के हर कॉन्क्लेव में, हर मीटिंग में, हर इंटरव्यू में मनीष सिसोदिया जी, अरविंद केजरीवाल इस शराब नीति का बखान करने में लगे रहते थे। और गलियों में महिलाएं रो रही थी। कई जगह तो महिलाओं पर लाठी चार्ज करने के लिए इन लोगों ने पुलिस को कहा। भारतीय जनता पार्टी के प्रचंड विरोध के कारण हमने किसी के ऊपर लाठी नहीं बरसने दी। उसके बाद की घटना को याद करिए, जैसे ही चीफ सेक्रेटरी ने एलजी को शिकायत की कि इससे भारी नुकसान हो रहा है, गैर कानूनी ऑर्डर था, लीगल नहीं है, तो अरविंद केजरीवाल पकड़े जाने के डर से तुरंत कैबिनेट की मीटिंग बुलाए। ये 8 जुलाई 2022 की चीफ सेक्रेटरी के शिकायत के बाद 14 जुलाई को कैबिनेट की मीटिंग बुलाई जाती है और इसको
So there you heard from the BJP once again continuing to ask very important questions from the Aam Aadmi Party. We'll continue to track all those developments. Let's listen into some other political reactions as well.
Today, CBI has conducted raids in multiple places in Delhi, including the residence of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. How do you react to this?
The central government is using CBI, ED, Income Tax Department and so on, all these central agencies for political vendetta. Manish Sisodia, to my knowledge, is one of the most upright political leaders with very important contributions to, say, not only general administration in Delhi as a finance minister, but also for his role as an educationist. And now, I don't know why we should be dragged into this controversy regarding excise issues in Delhi. So, is for the drama's sake. They can investigate here. Anything can be investigated, but without tarnishing people's image or harassing them. There are ways of investigating. But this is a political statement by BJP. It's a political intervention.
A new name of Dinesh Arora has come up. Currently, I am standing outside one of his pubs in the national capital, that is in Aero City. Now, the BJP has made allegations against him that he was also involved in this whole liquor mafia that was involved in distributing the licenses, liquor licenses in the national capital according to the new excise policy. However, the Aam Aadmi Party has not reacted to these allegations, but yes, the BJP has taken on the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that Dinesh Arora was the person who used to take commissions from L1 license owners in the national capital and used to submit that to Manish Sisodia. He's also being alleged to being the right hand of Manish Sisodia in this entire controversy. Also, another point of contention that the BJP has been raising is that all the photos and videos that Manish Sisodia had with La Roca's owner, Dinesh Arora, that all content has been removed from entire social media as well as the internet. So now it remains to be seen if the CBI can actually investigate the case from this angle and get in touch with Dinesh Arora. However, still no contact has been made.
Let me also now bring in my colleagues. Rupashri Nanda continues to track developments of the Aam Aadmi Party. Anvit is also joining us. He's been tracking developments from outside Anand Tiwari's residence, another man who's under the scanner of the agencies. Anvit, what I want to now talk to you about, taking on from what we were seeing in the ground report filed by Anshul, that various other private individuals are also currently under the scanner because the allegation is that they've been recipients as far as proceeds of crime are concerned. Any details emerging so far, or is it too early to have specific names on the role of these private individuals?
Private individuals, as far as they are concerned, Dinesh Arora's name has come to foray, and another person who is said to be associated with Aam Aadmi Party's social media team. His role has also surfaced, but rest of the names are yet to surface. And other than that, public officials are also being raided. Two of them, the most important names, are obviously Gopi Krishan, who was the former commissioner of the Excise Department, and Deputy Commissioner Anand Tiwari. Now, we are right outside Anand Tiwari's house, and early morning today around 9 a.m. it was when the CBI teams arrived here. You can see the vehicle is still parked, officials are still inside. It's been more than 6 hours that the raids are still on. A short while ago, officials has also come out, but they did not speak to media. They searched Tiwari's car, and the raids have been going on. Officials had gone out, and they even came back with some packets, but we do not know what was the content and what they had gone out to take. But they have also not come out to clearly chart it out that if they have recovered something, whether any documents or whatever the searches are being made for particularly, has anything been recovered or not. But what we know is that the cell phones of the family members and the laptops had been taken into custody. We don't know if they were officially confiscated. Are there any evidences that the CBI has been looking for, which they have got till now, because it's been more than 6 hours. But we know that phones and cell phones had been taken away. Raids are still continuing, and raids, as we know, has also been conducted at Gopi Krishan's house, which is said to be in Vasant Vihar in South Delhi. So raids are continuing, and if we go into the background, it was on July 8 that the report was submitted by Delhi Chief Secretary Naresh Kumar accusing Sisodia of providing undue benefits to liquor vend licenses in lieu of kickbacks and commissions. The money which then it was alleged that was used in Punjab elections, and it was after that LG had recommended CBI inquiry, and the CBI registered a case, and then it was following all these developments on July 30, it was that the Delhi government had withdrawn the liquor policy. So now since the morning today, we have been seeing that raids are being conducted. Two private individuals whose roles have come to foray, like Anshul also mentioned, Dinesh Arora, who is being said to be kind of a middleman who used to collect commission and give it to Manish Sisodia. His places are also under the radar, and Anand Tiwari's place is also under the radar, who was suspended along with 11 other officials of the Delhi government and those who were on ad hoc Danix officers.
Okay. Anvit, I'll request you to stay on with us. I'll request Rupashri also to stay on with us. We'll continue to track all these various developments and the reactions that are coming in as well. For now, we're slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
J Vikas to show you the visual. This is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place, and since then they are looking for some document, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now, and 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further, Aam Aadmi Party is calling it a vendetta politics, and on the other hand, we are seeing BJP, which is calling it a routine investigation, normal investigation, because they are saying that central government has nothing to do with it. CBI is doing its work. Also, this all started with the recommendation that were initiated by a Lieutenant Governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021, and talking about that particular policy, the whole Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and then licenses were given. Initially, it was decided that now we'll be having, liquor shops in the unauthorized colonies as well. But later, we had an argument where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the unauthorized colonies, and that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments. In fact, the war of words between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, where BJP on one hand is saying that just because you are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations. That's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है, और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला।
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. Our rolling coverage continues here on CNN News 18 to get you all the angles of why we saw raids at Manish Sisodia's residence earlier in the day. This, on expected lines, has resulted into a political war of words, with the Aam Aadmi Party saying this is vendetta politics, the BJP saying if you have nothing to hide, why not cooperate with the investigation? But what has now also come to light is that it's not just Manish Sisodia who's currently under the scanner, but certain private individuals as well. The allegations against these private individuals are that they were quid pro quo and they were recipients as far as proceeds of crime were concerned. Let's break down the details. The first person under the scanner is Dinesh Arora. The allegation is that Manish Sisodia conspired with this man, Dinesh Arora. Who is Dinesh Arora? He owns a pub in South Delhi, took about 6% cut from the L1 holders. That's the allegation against him. The other person who's currently under the scanner of the agencies is Vijay Nair. Again, the allegation is that Manish Sisodia conspired with Vijay Nair, who is the ex-CEO of Only Much Louder, again a pub, and was part of a conspiracy as well. But that's not the only allegation against these two individuals. The allegation against Dinesh Arora also is that he collected rupees 540 crores from L1 holders. For Vijay Nair, the allegation is that layered excise policy to avoid scrutiny. So questions now being raised as to what role these individuals had as far as this excise policy is concerned. But as we've been pointing out, because a lot of questions are being raised as far as the implementation of this excise policy, a legal plan is also now being drawn up by the Aam Aadmi Party. Let me bring in my colleague Ananya Bhatnagar, who's been tracking all these developments for us, to really talk us and walk us through what this legal plan is. Ananya, you were getting us details of what is the game that is being prepared by the Aam Aadmi Party. They're having consultations with the likes of Kapil Sibal. Any more details that you're picking up?
Well, yes, Ridhima, remember, as we taking our viewers continuously through the chronology of events, remember that it all started when Mr. LG has recommended to the MHA to go for a CBI probe into this particular excise policy. This was after the Chief Secretary had in fact given out a report to the LG that there are discrepancies in this policy, and from then the CBI had conducted a pre-E, that is a preliminary inquiry, and then today has registered a case, has recently registered a case into this particular case. A regular case has been registered, which we call in general language a FIR, and from then on searches have now been started to be conducted. More than 6 to 7 hours have gone by since the CBI teams are at Manish Sisodia's residence and other other premises, also 21 locations in fact being raided particularly. And now what is the legal plan basically is that the Aam Aadmi Party lawyers, the legal team, the legal cell of the Aam Aadmi Party is continuously monitoring all of these developments and which are taking place, particularly with regards to the searches and seizures that are taking place. And in fact, what we have heard from our sources is that they were also in contact with senior advocate Kapil Sibal, a man with 50 years of experience in the Supreme Court, a man who knows the criminal law for a very long time. True. And somebody who's known all of these laws since their inception, because he's also remained a former law minister of the country. So he's somebody who's an expert on criminal law. He's being consulted with by the Aam Aadmi Party lawyers in order to churn out a way ahead, to churn out a legal way ahead. And in fact, discussions were on with regards to the legal routes possible under the acts in which Mr. Sisodia has been both under the sections of the Indian Penal Code and the other various sections under which.
So as my colleague Ananya is pointing out, that a legal team is also being readied as far as the Aam Aadmi Party is concerned, considering one of their top ministers is currently under the scanner of the CBI. We'll continue to track all those developments. I'll request all my colleagues to stay on with us as well. We're slipping into a very short break, coming back with lots more.
In NCR, Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। ABG शिपयार्ड में 23,000 करोड़ का घोटाला हुआ, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। अडानी के पोर्ट पे हजारों करोड़ की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। कितनी कार्रवाइयां बताऊं? येदियुरप्पा के खिलाफ कुछ हुआ? व्यापम घोटाले में कुछ हुआ?
Welcome back. Thanks a lot for staying with us. We're getting some updates now coming in as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, where we're understanding the Supreme Court has thrown out the petition filed by Advocate Kanhaiya Kumar against the Animal Rescue and Rehabilitation Centre in Jamnagar. So the PIL against the Greens, in fact, has been quashed. That's the big update that we're tracking. Hearsay PIL thrown out is the update also that we're getting in from the Supreme Court. My colleague Ananya Bhatnagar continues to be with us. Talk to us about what this petition was and why has it been thrown as far as the Supreme Court is concerned.
Well, yes, this advocate had knocked the doors of the top court, remember, seeking two basic prayers. First of all, one was against the construction of a zoo at Jamnagar, and the second was a permission granted to a private entity which was basically tasked by the Central Zoo Authority to manage this whole zoo, and was given out permission in order to import certain endangered, vulnerable and threatened animals. So this is what he was pointing out before the top court, that this is irregularity, this should not be done. He was citing various media reports in particularly with this. But then after hearing both the sides, after hearing the Central Zoo Authority as well, who is the governing body for zoos in the country, it is clearly noted that this person who has filed this public interest litigation is not at all expert into this in fact matter, and in fact he has not conducted a proper research before filing this petition, and there is no logical or legal basis to turn down these orders that have been passed or these permissions that have been granted, and hence the petition was dismissed, though a cost was not levied on the petitioner. But then the court clearly noted that this person had filed this petition only based on half-baked media reports and not even these media reports by some experts, and hence the petition was dismissed, saying that it lacks the expertise of a particular extent, and hence the petition cannot be entertained. Remember, this is a bench headed by Justice Dinesh Maheshwari which has passed this order clearly dismissing this petition.
Ananya, thanks a lot for getting us all those details. We'll keep tracking all these developments and much more. With that, it's a wrap from my side. My colleague Anusha takes the news forward on the other side.
The CBI team is allegedly at Sisodia's home. This is something that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Delhi Chief Minister, is saying.
You know, this is not the first time. They were basically anticipating that CBI would be arresting, but at this point in time, he has tweeted and he has said that CBI is at his house and he is welcoming them.
But the fact that the team is there on ground means that prima facie it finds reasons to believe what LG has recommended, that the excise policy must be looked into by the top investigating agencies.
The CBI is at the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence now, and it can be said that this is a raid by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
Good evening and a very warm welcome. This continues to remain our top focus. Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia has been charged by the CBI with criminal conspiracy, and this is in connection with the Delhi Excise Policy, a policy that has been under the scanner of various investigation agencies. He has been charged with violating excise policy, quid pro quo, getting undue benefits in the implementation of the policy. Largely, the allegations are around misuse of public office. Responding to this situation and the allegation, Mr. Sisodia has claimed that he is being harassed for doing good work. He has also said that he will not be brought down by these conspiracies. He also had a press conference by Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who stood behind his deputy, saying he is very proud of the work done in the national capital, especially because the work was featured on the front page of New York Times on the 18th of August. As per ED sources, Enforcement Directorate, which largely looks at the proceeds of the crime, the agency will be asking CBI for their FIR to see if there is a case that the Enforcement Directorate can take forward, and an ECIR, an equivalent of an FIR, can be lodged by the Enforcement Directorate. We had reactions coming through the day, but before that, I want to cut across to my colleagues who are tracking all the developments. Ananya continues to get us more details. Ananya? First, let's talk about what's the legal strategy that the Aam Aadmi Party is really mulling at. Kapil Sibal and other top names could be roped in.
Well, yes, definitely Kapil Sibal's name is being cropped up because remember that we had broken that down first for our viewers in the morning itself, that meetings are underway with Kapil Sibal. One meeting has already taken place with Mr. Kapil Sibal, wherein discussions have been held with regards to the legal options available for Mr. Sisodia, because remember, it is a very, very preliminary stage. Only searches have been conducted. There is no sign that he would be arrested as of now. And until and unless there is a reasonable belief of arrest or in fact documentary evidence against him, then only there is a chance that Mr. Sisodia can be arrested into this particular case, because remember, the CBI and ED both have special powers to arrest in a particular manner, and in fact but they have higher threshold to arrest as well. So deliberations are on with Mr. Kapil Sibal. One meeting had already taken place and the Aam Aadmi Party lawyers are in contact with Mr. Sibal. Apart from that, we should always also remember that Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, senior advocate and senior Congress leader, is also a very, very key part of the Aam Aadmi Party legal team, because remember, he has at one point of time defended the excise policy of the Aam Aadmi Party government before various petitions that were filed by the liquor shop owners before the Delhi High Court. In fact, he has also represented the Aam Aadmi Party government in various other matters in the top court, including that of the freebies matter.
So we have to wait and watch what exactly happens. But yes, as Ananya is pointing out, top names are going to be roped in. My colleague Akash is with us also on the broadcast. Anvit is also joining us with more details on the story. Anvit, first to you, give us more details about what exactly are the murmurs within the Aam Aadmi Party. We have had a battery of leaders from both sides, including the BJP leaders from the Delhi BJP unit, the Aam Aadmi Party coming forward and defending. A full-blown political war of words has broken out between the two camps. Anvit, if you can hear me.
Yes, see, we are right now at one of the locations. We are right now at one of the locations where the raids are being conducted, and we are right now outside the Deputy Commissioner of Excise Department, who was earlier suspended on 6th of August. And his CBI teams are very much at his house right now. The vehicle you see parked is what in which these officers had come in. And they are very much inside, and the latest we can tell you is that when the teams had arrived here, the phones and the laptops of the family members had been confiscated. We do not know if they have officially been seized, but they are being searched. Searches are still on. As we are talking, searches are also on the Commissioner of Excise, who was earlier also suspended, Gopi Kishan's house in Vasant Vihar in South Delhi. Apart from them, there were 9 other officials who had been suspended, 3 ad hoc Danics officers and 6 officials of the Delhi government Excise Department. They all were suspended by LG following allegations that lapses in rolling out the excise policy, which the Delhi government had rolled back after the CBI had registered an FIR, and it was alleged that some kickbacks were received and commissions were received because Manish Sisodia was the head of the excise department. He also came under the line of fire, and it was alleged that he had received some commission kickback, the amount received from which were used in the Punjab elections also. Following all that, CBI has been conducting raids early since the morning, and raids are also on at 21 other locations in Delhi.
Raids are on in 21 other locations in Delhi. The Central Bureau of Investigation, we're also expecting ED to perhaps step into this matter very, very soon. Cutting across to my colleague Akash as well, who's with us on the broadcast. Akash, give us a broader line of defense that has come in from the Aam Aadmi Party. Largely, most of the things that they have said in the public domain are political arguments, that this is a witch hunt, this is a vendetta. What is rather interesting is that after there was much controversy over this new liquor policy, the Aam Aadmi Party did not go ahead with that policy. They in fact went back to the old model of granting licenses.
Right, Arunima. So Anusha, clarifying with that particular line where you are saying that Aam Aadmi Party did not go with the same policy. So at that time, basically Aam Aadmi Party had a press conference in which it was said that just because we were not able to implement this policy fully, and also because our vendors and our license holders are receiving the threatening messages of ED and CBI, or basically BJP leaders are sending them messages saying that even you'll be impacted with the kind of investigation that we are initiating. That's why these license holders were tendering back the licenses, and that's the reason why we are going to the old policy. Also, a cabinet was put out in public where it was mentioned that continuing with the same policy without implementing it fully would lead to the adverse impact on the Delhi government's revenue. So that's the reason why at that time Aam Aadmi Party clarified that now we are going to the old policy. In fact, we are forming a new policy, but till the time we are going to the old regime. Also at this point in time, talking about the current situation, current conditions, 8 hours and still counting. We are standing outside the residence of Manish Sisodia, and CBI officers are very much inside this particular place. And if I can ask my cameraman Ravindra to show you the visuals, this is the particular place. This is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and at around 8:15 in the morning, CBI officers came into this particular place, and they are at this point in time are searching for some sort of documents. And also we are learning that electronic items have been taken under control by the CBI officers, and they are basically investigating in the same case where initially it was recommended that CBI probe should be considered for this excise policy, because initially financial quid pro quo, this is what the allegations were, and also at this point in time, we are seeing a war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and BJP, where both the parties are blaming each other. On one hand, we have BJP, which is saying that this is the kind of loot that your leaders were involved in. That's the reason why our CBI is investigating it. And on the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying that, this is vendetta politics and central government is misusing central agencies.
So, what Akash, Anved and Ananya have been reporting, this is broadly the story, viewers, what we are getting for you. Right now, what we have in the public domain is arguments and counter-arguments, allegations and cross-allegations which are happening from both the sides. But what exactly is the BJP accusing the Aam Aadmi Party of while the CBI conducts that raid? Look at this entire trail of events that BJP is talking about. A gentleman named Dinesh Arora, he owns a pub in South Delhi. Allegedly, the Delhi Deputy CM conspired with him. That's the allegation of the BJP, an allegation that the CBI will have to investigate. And there's also an individual named Vijay Nair, who's the ex-CEO of Only Much Louder, another pub owners. In this entire chain of events, and there are dozens of other locations, like Anvit was pointing out, which are under raids right now, the allegation is that there was some kind of quid pro quo that happened between the office of the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister, which was in charge of granting of these licenses, and these individual pub owners. At the heart of it is the misuse of public office, quid pro quo and proceeds of crime. These three things are going to be very, very fundamental if at all a charge of this nature really has to be proved. So that's broadly the allegations. Cutting across live to a press conference being held by the BJP. Let's go to that.
ये क्योंकि एक ऐसा खुलासा होने वाला है जिससे कि पूरी पोल खुल जाएगी बस 30-40 सेकंड में। और अगर हो सके तो जरूर कमेंट करके मुझे बताइएगा कि अगर आपको मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है। अगर मेरी आवाज सुनाई दे रही है तो मैं इस लाइव को शुरू कर सकता हूं, यदि आप लोग देख सकते हैं। थैंक यू। अरविंद केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स के पिनोकियो है। अरविंद केजरीवाल, आम आदमी पार्टी इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स के पिनोकियो है। पिनोकियो कौन है? वही जो बार बार झूठ बोलता है, उसकी नाक बढ़ती जाती है। झूठ पर झूठ, झूठ पर झूठ। और कुछ लोग तो मुझे कह रहे हैं कि अब सवाल ये पूछना पड़ेगा कि तुम इतना जो डाइवर्ट करा रहे हो, क्या स्कैम है जिसको छिपा रहे हो? पॉलिटिक्स, इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स के पिनोकियो से सवाल है, तुम इतना जो डाइवर्ट किए जा रहे हो, क्या स्कैम है जिसको छिपा रहे हो? अभी अभी आपने देखा कि सीरीज ऑफ प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंसेस आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रवक्ताओं ने की, परंतु किसी प्रवक्ता ने, जो मैंने 15 सवाल लिकर स्कैम को रिलेटेड पूछे थे, वो सवाल मैंने ट्वीट भी किए थे। अभी अभी मनोज तिवारी जी, सांसद जी ने भी सवाल पूछे। उससे पहले परवेश वर्मा जी ने, आदेश गुप्ता जी हमारे दिल्ली के अध्यक्ष ने पूछे। उससे पहले सुबह अनुराग ठाकुर जी ने पूछे। उससे पहले भारतीय जनता पार्टी की ओर से मीनाक्षी लेखी जी से लेकर संबित पात्रा और मेरी भी प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस हुई थी। हमने सीरीज ऑफ क्वेश्चंस लिकर स्कैम पे पूछे, स्पेसिफिक सवाल। एक भी स्पेसिफिक सवाल का जवाब तो नहीं आया, एक भी नहीं आया। आपने देखा होगा कि वो सारे सवाल, 144 करोड़ का वेवर, उसके अलावा 30 करोड़ की ईएमडी कैसे आपने रिफंड कर दी, कैसे लाइसेंसी पीरियड का ऑपरेशनल पीरियड बढ़ा दिया, कैसे 2 वेंट के बदले ज्यादा वेंट खोलने की परमिशन दे दी, कैसे 50 रुपए प्रति क्रेट डिस्काउंट दे दिया, ये सारे जो सवाल है, जो वायलेशंस चीफ सेक्रेटरी की रिपोर्ट में है, उसके ऊपर नो जवाब, केवल दुम दबाकर भाग। और कैसे दुम दबाकर भाग? अब इन्होंने पकड़ लिया है बार बार ये न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स, खलीज टाइम्स, ये नॉन इश्यूज को इश्यूज बनाना। इसीलिए मैं कहता हूं ना, ABCD, A फॉर एडवर्टाइजिंग, B फॉर भ्रष्टाचार, C फॉर कवर अप, D फॉर डिविएशन, डाइवर्शन। तो पिनोकियो ऑफ इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स फिर से एक बार और एक झूठ बोलने लगे। पर मैं आपको मित्रों बताना चाहता हूं एक ऐसा खुलासा जिससे कि आपको उनकी विश्वसनीयता पर पूरा का पूरा जो उनकी विश्वसनीयता है वो किस प्रकार की है वो समझ में आ जाएगी। हालांकि विषय ये नहीं है, ना एजुकेशन पॉलिसी पर है, ना न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स बनाम खलीज टाइम्स या वो सारे आर्टिकल्स है, परंतु क्योंकि ये बार बार उसी पर अटके हुए हैं, मैं आपको कुछ चीजें बताना चाहता हूं। सबसे पहले तो न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स का सर्टिफिकेट हमें चाहिए हमारी स्कूल्स कैसे कर रही है ये बताने के लिए। मतलब सोचिए, बात करते हैं आम आदमी पार्टी होने की, परंतु न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के सर्टिफिकेट की इनको आवश्यकता है कि दिल्ली के स्कूल कैसे चल रहे हैं। अरे भाई, यहां की मीडिया के रिपोर्ट्स उठा लो या यहां की कोर्ट्स की आदेश ऑर्डर्स उठा लीजिए, यहां के स्कूल के ऊपर जो रिसर्च और रिपोर्ट्स की जाती है उसको उठा लीजिए। 500 नए स्कूल का वादा किया था, कितने बनाए? 20 नए कॉलेज का वादा किया था, कितने बनाए? कितने वाइस प्रिंसिपल अपॉइंट किए? ये सारी चीजें कोर्ट के सामने भी आई है याचिकाओं में, और ये सारी की सारी बातें इंडियन मीडिया में भी रिपोर्टेड है। ये विषय नहीं है। जो लोग भी कह रहे हैं, ये न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स और खलीज टाइम्स, आपको बता दूं और मैं आपको दिखाना चाहता हूं, एक इंडियन अफेयर्स नाम की एक पब्लिकेशन है, ऑनलाइन पब्लिकेशन, उन्होंने एक बहुत ही अच्छा खुलासा किया है इस पे। उन्होंने बताया है कि किस प्रकार से ये आर्टिकल न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स और खलीज टाइम्स में छपने से पहले वो 18-19 को छपा है। ये वही आर्टिकल, वही कंटेंट 3 बड़ी शेडी वेबसाइट्स पर छपी है। एक है लोकल पब्लिक नाम की वेबसाइट, दूसरी है पक्की खबर नाम की कोई वेबसाइट, और तीसरी है न्यूज नेक्स्ट डेस्क। इन वेबसाइट्स का कुछ ज्यादा आता पता है नहीं, पर यही कंटेंट, यही लाइन लेंथ 16 तारीख को इन वेबसाइट्स पे छपी है, और फिर ये चीज और 2 पब्लिकेशंस में छपी है, सेम फोटो के साथ, सेम ऑथर के साथ। कुछ लोगों ने, ये जो ऑथर है न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के सो कॉल्ड आर्टिकल का, करणदीप सिंह, उसके कई सारे ट्वीट्स भी निकाले हैं। न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स ने भारत के विषय में क्या छापा है, क्या बोला है, ये तो सबको पता है, वो विषय नहीं है। करणदीप सिंह जी के ट्वीट्स भी कुछ लोगों ने किस प्रकार की उन्होंने बातें रखी है हिंदुओं के विषय में, और इस प्रकार के ऑथर, लेखक का उनको आर्टिकल्स अगर विश्वसनीय लगता है तो ठीक है, उनका स्वागत है, वो करें। परंतु मैं आपको अब एक और चीज बताऊंगा, और ये इस पूरे मामले पे फुल स्टॉप लगा देगी, क्योंकि आज चर्चा लिकर स्कैम की करनी है। 11 अगस्त को एक ट्वीट अरविंद केजरीवाल ने किया था। 11 अगस्त को ये ट्वीट आपके सामने, आप लोग भी अरविंद केजरीवाल के न्यूज ट्विटर हैंडल पे खोल सकते हैं। ये आर्टिकल उन्होंने ट्वीट किया था, जो अपेरेंटली News24 इंडिया नाम की कोई वेबसाइट से है। कोई ऐसी वेबसाइट है News24 इंडिया, उन्होंने उसमें बताया है कि किस प्रकार से केजरीवाल मॉडल ब्रिटेन के आम चुनावों में उसकी झलक दिख रही है। पढ़िए खबर, और इसको केजरीवाल जी ने ट्वीट किया है ये बताने के लिए कि मेरा मॉडल यूके के आम चुनावों में इस्तेमाल हो रहा है। नीचे अगर आप देखें इस वेबसाइट की पृष्ठभूमि को, तो ये वेबसाइट जो है News24 इंडिया, ये वेबसाइट की हिस्ट्री में अगर आप जाके देखें, बहुत सारे लोगों ने इसका रिसर्च करके डाला है। ये वेबसाइट की ओरिजिनल जो उसकी पृष्ठभूमि है, वो आम आदमी पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता से जुड़ी हुई है, जो उनकी उत्तराखंड के कार्यकर्ता है, उनके ही वेबसाइट का नाम कन्वर्ट करके News24 इंडिया किया गया है, और उस लिंक को डाला गया। और आपको यह भी पता होगा कि यूके में कोई आम चुनाव नहीं हो रहे हैं, तो वहां पे आम चुनावों में किस प्रकार से अरविंद केजरीवाल जी छा रहे हैं, यह विषय नहीं हो सकता। और यह बात केवल मैं नहीं कह रहा, यह बात आप देख सकते हैं, एक रिफत जावेद नाम के पत्रकार भी है, उन्होंने भी ट्वीट करके अरविंद केजरीवाल को कहा है, जस्ट हाउ सैड दिस मैन हैज बिकम, देयर आर नो जनरल इलेक्शंस इन यूके एंड ऋषि सुनाक हैज नॉट प्रॉमिस्ड एनीथिंग लाइक दिस। By using a 2-paragraph news report by a highly suspicious website, Kejriwal wastes no time in sharing this fake propaganda. ये मैं नहीं कह रहा, ये रिफत जावेद नाम के एक, मुझे लगता है वो भी एक व्यक्ति हैं, उनसे पत्रकार है या क्या है, वो उन्होंने ये ट्वीट किया है। तो ये उनकी पृष्ठभूमि है फेक न्यूज फैलाने में। फेक न्यूज की फैक्ट्री है ये लोग, पिनोकियो ऑफ इंडियन पॉलिटिक्स है ये लोग, झूठ पे झूठ बोलना है। और विज्ञापन पर किस प्रकार का खर्च किया गया है इनके द्वारा, ये देखिए, ये हिंदू की रिपोर्ट है। दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट हैज इंक्रीज्ड इट्स एड स्पेंड बाय 4200% अंडर केजरीवाल। ये सीएजी की रिपोर्ट ने कहा है, आरटीआई की रिप्लाई से आया है। तो किस प्रकार से फेक न्यूज फैलाना, विज्ञापन दो, व्यवस्था स्लो करना, ये सारी चीजें स्पष्ट है। पर आज सवाल मैं फिर से एक बार कह रहा हूं, ना कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के आर्टिकल का है। न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स से हमें सर्टिफिकेट नहीं चाहिए। भारत के दिल्ली के स्कूल के बारे में, उसके बारे में पूरी रिपोर्ट्स है कि स्कूल किस प्रकार से दिल्ली के चरमराए हुए हैं। और ये लोग 500 नए स्कूल बता रहे थे ना बनाएंगे, कौन से 500 नए स्कूल बनाए, नाम बता दे एक प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस बाद में करके। पर आज स्कूल पे भी विषय नहीं, विषय ये भी नहीं है कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स की क्या लीनिंग रही है, ये भी विषय नहीं है कि करणदीप सिंह जो है वो उसका क्या पुराना उसका पृष्ठभूमि रहा है, उसने किस प्रकार के विषय रखे हैं अपने आर्टिकल्स के माध्यम से, उसकी क्या लाइन और लेंथ रही है, किस प्रकार से उसने बात, ये सारे विषय नहीं है। आज विषय केवल और केवल यह है कि लिकर स्कैम के ऊपर जो स्पेसिफिक 10, 12, 15 सवाल हम लोग पूछ रहे हैं, उसका जवाब क्यों नहीं दे रहे। और फिर ये
सुबह से लगातार मैं देख रहा हूं, पूरी की पूरी भारतीय जनता पार्टी सारा काम छोड़ के आज उनके नेताओं के पास कोई काम नहीं है। एक ही काम है, अरविंद केजरीवाल को टारगेट करो, उनके खिलाफ बोलो, उनके खिलाफ मुहिम छेड़ो, जितनी कार्रवाइयां, जितनी कोशिशें हो सकती है करो। तो कहीं ना कहीं भारतीय जनता पार्टी ने आज एक संदेश पूरे देश को यह भी दिया है कि अगला 2024 का जो चुनाव हिंदुस्तान में होने जा रहा है, वो चुनाव आम आदमी पार्टी वर्सेस भारतीय जनता पार्टी होगा। आज की घटना से, भाजपा की बौखलाहट से, मोदी जी की बौखलाहट से यह भी साबित हो गया है कि 2024 का चुनाव मोदी वर्सेस केजरीवाल होगा। और ये बात मैं क्यों कह रहा हूं, क्योंकि जैसे ही दिल्ली और पंजाब से निकलकर अरविंद केजरीवाल जी गुजरात पहुंचते हैं, कहते हैं हम दिल्ली का मॉडल, पंजाब का मॉडल गुजरात में लाएंगे, लगातार प्रधानमंत्री जी हमलावर हो जाते हैं। फ्री की रेवड़ी, फ्री की रेवड़ी, फ्री की रेवड़ी। उसके बाद जब उस पर केजरीवाल जी खुलासा करते हैं कि भैया फ्री की रेवड़ी तो तुमने अपने दोस्तों को बांट रखी है, 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए कर्जा माफ किया, 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए टैक्स माफ किया, तो बोले सीबीआई ईडी को काम पे लगाओ। और मनीष सिसोदिया पे सीबीआई ईडी। और किस दिन कौन सी तारीख चुनी? प्रयास तो बहुत दिन से था, तारीख वो चुनी गई जब अमेरिका के अखबार में, एक प्रमुख अखबार में पहले पृष्ठ पर मनीष सिसोदिया की फोटो के साथ केजरीवाल की और मनीष सिसोदिया की शिक्षा क्रांति की खबर छपती है। तो इन पूरी घटनाओं से कहीं ना कहीं यह भी साबित होता है कि दरअसल अगला जो चुनाव होगा 2024 का लोकसभा, वो आम आदमी पार्टी वर्सेस भारतीय जनता पार्टी होगा, मोदी वर्सेस केजरीवाल का चुनाव होगा। और हम लड़ेंगे। एक बात बहुत स्पष्ट दोपहर में भी बोला था, फिर बोल रहा हूं, अब ना तो आपसे केजरीवाल रुकने वाले हैं और ना ही आपसे शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य का मॉडल रुकने वाला है। हमारा काम नहीं रुकेगा। आप बंद कीजिए हमारे स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को, आप कार्रवाई कीजिए शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर, लेकिन दिल्ली का कोई काम रुकेगा नहीं। एक अनपढ़ों की जमात ने, मैंने देखा सुबह से एक प्रोपागेंडा फैला रखा है, कह रहे पेड न्यूज छप गया, पेड न्यूज छप गया। अरे भाई, उसी अखबार में, न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में, जहां मोदी जी के इतने दोस्त रहते हैं, उसी अमेरिका में मिसमैनेजमेंट की खबर छपी कि कितनी बुरी हालत मोदी जी की सरकार ने कोरोना के समय में देश की जिससे लाखों लोगों की मौत हुई। आप भी पेड छपवा लेते, अपनी तारीफें छपवा लेते। आपके पास कहां पैसे की कमी है? केंद्र की सरकार है, कई राज्यों में सरकार है। और अनपढ़ों की जमात क्यों कह रहा हूं? जिस खलीज टाइम्स का ये जिक्र कर रहे हैं, उसमें तो साफ तौर पे लिखा है कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के सौजन्य से यह खबर छापी गई है। तो जब वो अखबार ही लिख रहा है कि न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स के सौजन्य से यह खबर छापी गई है, तो उसमें फोटो भी वही रहेगी, लैंग्वेज भी वही रहेगी, लिखने वाला भी वही रहेगा। जैसे आप अपने चैनल पे किसी दूसरे चैनल की वीडियो फुटेज चलाते हैं तो लिखते हैं उस चैनल का नाम कि सौजन्य से इस चैनल के। अब अगर यह अखबार लिख रहा है, कह रहे नहीं विज्ञापन है, मतलब क्या है कि केजरीवाल के किसी अच्छे काम को देखना, ये गांधी जी के बंदर हो जाते हैं केजरीवाल के काम के मामले में। ना तो केजरीवाल का काम देखेंगे, न सुनेंगे न कुछ बोलेंगे। जैसे ही केजरीवाल के सरकार के, शिक्षा के, स्वास्थ्य के कोई अच्छे काम की चर्चा होने लगती है, तुरंत गांधी जी के बंदर हो जाते हैं, कहते हैं ना हम अच्छा काम देखेंगे, ना अच्छा काम सुनेंगे, ना उस पर कुछ बोलेंगे। ये हालत हो जाती है, गांधी जी के बंदर बन जाते हैं लोग। अरे गांधी जी के बंदर तो बुरा मत देखो, बुरा मत सुनो, बुरा मत कहो के लिए बने हुए, तो केजरीवाल से दुश्मनी कर रहे हैं। तो कुल मिलाकर मैं फिर यही दोहराना चाहता हूं, 7-8 घंटे से जांच चल रही है। एक नहीं 1000 जांच कराओ। पहले भी भाजपाइयों आपने जांच कराई थी, कई बार आपने जांच कराई थी। मुझे याद है ऐसे ही चीख चीख के, चिल्ला चिल्ला के कह रहे थे जब अरविंद केजरीवाल जी के दफ्तर पे छापे मारे थे आपने, तब कहा था राजेंद्र कुमार का बहुत बड़ा घोटाला पकड़ लिया। क्या हुआ? 7 साल हो गए उस जांच का, कोई जवाब देगा? मनीष सिसोदिया जी के घर पे पहले भी आपने सीबीआई का छापा मारा, क्या निकला? कोई जवाब देगा? 400 फाइलों की सुंगलू कमेटी ने जांच की, बाद में क्लीन चिट दे दिया, क्या निकला? कोई बताएगा? 40-40 विधायकों को पकड़ के जेल में डाला, कोई कार्रवाई की? उन पर कुछ साबित हो पाया? कोर्ट ने बरी किया और दिल्ली पुलिस को फटकार लगाई कई मामलों में। इतनी दुर्भावना से कार्रवाई। जो भारतीय जनता पार्टी के साथ रहता है वो हरिश्चंद्र हो जाता है। येदियुरप्पा भ्रष्टाचार के मामले में निकाले गए, फिर उन्हीं को पार्टी में ले लिया, उनको संसदीय बोर्ड में शामिल कर दिया। रेड्डी ब्रदर्स के हजारों करोड़ के माइनिंग घोटाले का क्या हुआ? येदियुरप्पा के हजारों करोड़ के माइनिंग घोटाले का क्या हुआ? किसको सजा हुई? कौन जेल गया? क्या हुआ व्यापम घोटाले का, जो हजारों करोड़ का घोटाला था? क्या हुआ नीरव मोदी का, मेहुल चौकसी का, जो 20,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गए, जिसको मोदी जी कहते हैं मेहुल भाई? क्या हुआ नितिन संदेशरा का 6,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया, विजय माल्या 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया, ललित मोदी 3,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया? क्या हुआ? हमने बताया कि कोरोना के समय में कई संस्थाओं ने, कई सरकारों ने टैक्स माफ किया, लाइसेंस फीस माफ की, हमने भी माफ किया। बार बार वही सवाल आप पूछे जा रहे हो। आपने तो 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए का कर्जा माफ किया, 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए का कर्जा, उस पर हिसाब आप देते नहीं। 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का टैक्स माफ कर दिया, उस पर आप हिसाब नहीं देते। बताइए ना कितना कमीशन लिया उन लोगों से, कितनी रिश्वत खाई 10 लाख करोड़ रुपए राइट ऑफ करने की, कितनी रिश्वत खाई 5 लाख करोड़ रुपए का टैक्स माफ करने की, कितनी रिश्वत मिली भाजपा को? मैं पूछना चाहता हूं, बताइए आप। 42,000 करोड़ रुपए जिस कंपनी ने घोटाला किया, DHFL ने, उससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया। बताइए कितने बीजेपी नेताओं से ईडी सीबीआई ने पूछताछ की? बताइए। एबीजी शिपयार्ड ने 23,000 करोड़ रुपए का घोटाला किया। अडानी के पोर्ट पे गुजरात के अंदर 20,000 करोड़ रुपए की ड्रग्स पकड़ी गई, कितने पे कार्रवाई हुई? बताइए आप। मुकुल राय आपकी पार्टी में आ जाए तो शारदा घोटाला खत्म, हेमंत विश्व शर्मा आ जाए आपकी पार्टी में तो घोटाला खत्म। अब बताइए, शराब का मुद्दा आप उठा रहे हैं, गुजरात में जहरीली शराब का, नकली शराब का 10,000 करोड़ रुपए का धंधा होता है साल। अब बताइए कितने पे कार्रवाई हुई? मैं पूछ रहा हूं आपसे, अब बताइए, देश को जवाब दीजिए। कितने बीजेपी नेताओं को आपने जेल में भेजा? कितने लोगों पे आपने कार्रवाई की? तो इसलिए सिर्फ केजरीवाल को टारगेट करना है, आम आदमी पार्टी को टारगेट करना है, आप कीजिए, आप स्वतंत्र हैं। लेकिन पूरा देश इस बात को देख रहा है, दुनिया को नंबर 1 बनाने का मिशन केजरीवाल जी ने शुरू कर दिया है, और वो मिशन अब रुकेगा नहीं इन कार्रवाइयों से। आपको जितनी कार्रवाई करनी है कीजिए। हम अपने उस मिशन का विस्तार कर रहे हैं और वो पूरे देश में फैल रहा है। केजरीवाल जी की बढ़ती लोकप्रियता को आप रोक नहीं पाएंगे। मोदी जी आप जो भी चाहे कार्रवाई कर लीजिए। मुझे इतनी बात कहनी थी, आपका कोई प्रश्न? जी पूछिए। मुझे इतनी बात कहनी थी, आपका कोई प्रश्न? जी पूछिए।
आप लोग लगातार कह रहे हैं और वो बार-बार यही कह रहे हैं कि आप लोग मुद्दे से भटका रहे हैं। वो बार-बार यही बात कह रहे हैं। वो अभी लगातार पीसी हो रही है, उनकी प्रेस वार्ता हो रही है और वो ये इसी बात पर अटल है कि ये घोटाला हुआ है और आप लोग उससे भटकाने के लिए शिक्षा और स्वास्थ्य।
क्या घोटाला हुआ है बताइए ना, क्या घोटाला हुआ है? घोटाला हुआ है, कहां हुआ है? स्विस बैंक में 3 गुना काला धन बढ़ गया। घोटाला हुआ, कहां गया? कोई जांच, कोई कार्रवाई? मैं पूछ तो रहा हूं आपसे, 42,000 करोड़ जिस DHFL ने घोटाला किया, उसने 29 करोड़ बीजेपी को चंदा दिया है। कोई जवाब है इनके पास? खाली मुंह से बोलने से घोटाला हुआ है?
Well, that's the unabated war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP, and it's likely to continue. It's been more than 7 hours and the team of the CBI is still at the residence of Manish Sisodia. That and much more on the other side of a quick break. Stay tuned.
The CBI team is allegedly at Sisodia's home. This is something that Manish Sisodia, the Deputy Delhi Chief Minister, is saying.
You know, this is not the first time. They were basically anticipating that CBI would be arresting, but at this point in time, he has tweeted and he has said that CBI is at his house and he is welcoming them.
But the fact that the team is there on ground means that prima facie it finds reasons to believe what LG has recommended, that the excise policy must be looked into by the top investigating agencies.
The CBI is at the Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia's residence now, and it can be said that this is a raid by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
If this sets a precedent for fights within political parties to be settled by courts of law, ultimately, you know, whoever has majority control of a party, he or she should be given the reins of that party.
Priyanka, the BJP has also levelled a very direct charge that it was under your government's direction with the Delhi CS at the helm that you wanted to transfer these refugees or illegals into EWS flats.
There a buzz around Bajwa's arrival in London because this talk of his return early September means that just around the time there is a huge amount of pressure to call for early elections. So will Nawaz Sharif touch down in Pakistan before elections are announced?
My question is, when you mounted an entire campaign and ensured that a corrupt minister resigns, can Kartikeya Singh continue in office?
गए जेल वो लोग, हुई कोई कार्रवाई? तो भारतीय जनता पार्टी का असली चेहरा पूरे देश और दुनिया के सामने बेनकाब हो रहा है.
So that was senior MP Sanjay Singh speaking to CNN News 18, where he has said that all this is being done to demolish the image or the corruption-free image of the Aam Aadmi Party. Now it remains to be seen these raids that have been going on since 8 a.m. What comes out of these raids, and if the Aam Aadmi Party can actually put out its defense on this attack by the central agencies.
उस लूट की बात दिल्ली की जनता कर रही थी, गली गली में महिलाएं कर रही थी, बच्चे कर रहे थे, मंदिरों के सामने, मस्जिदों के सामने, गुरुद्वारों के सामने, देवालयों के सामने बैठे हुए लोग, जहां शराब की दुकानें खुल रही थी, गली गली में शराब की दुकान खोल रही थी, सभी इसकी बात कर रहे थे और पुकार कर रहे थे कि ये बड़ी लूट है, एक बड़ी साजिश है, इस पे इसका दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होना चाहिए. आज जब से सीबीआई इंक्वायरी हुई, सीबीआई की आज रेड पड़ी है. अब इनको इसमें क्या परेशानी हो रही है कि जो भी हुआ है उसका दूध का दूध पानी का पानी हो.
Akash Sharma is joining me live from Manish Sisodia's residence. Rupashri is tracking the Aam Aadmi Party's reaction. Ananya Bhatnagar is at the residence of the Lieutenant Governor. First to you, Akash, any update that you have for us? I believe CBI officials are scrutinizing whatever files, documents they can lay their hands on at Mr. Sisodia's residence.
So, Arunima, this is the only information that we have, that CBI officers are very much inside this particular house. And if I can ask my VJ Vikas to show you the visual, this is the official residence of Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia. And we are learning that around 8 to 8:15, CBI officers reached this particular place. And since then, they are looking for some documents, some official document, and are searching this particular place. Also, we are learning that other than this place, 21 other locations are also there. In fact, we are learning that all those 11 officers who were suspended just a few days back are being searched as of now in 21 locations. This is what we have learned. Further, Aam Aadmi Party is calling it a vendetta politics, and on the other hand, we are seeing BJP, which is calling it a routine investigation, normal investigation, because they are saying that central government has nothing to do with it. CBI is doing its work. Also, this all started with the recommendation that were initiated by a Lieutenant Governor, where it was said that some financial quid pro quo happened in the excise policy that was implemented in November 2021, and talking about that particular policy, the whole Delhi was divided into 32 zones, and then licenses were given. Initially, it was decided that now we'll be having, liquor shops in the unauthorized colonies as well. But later, we had an argument where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the unauthorized colonies, and that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments. In fact, the war of words.
Welcome back, and we continue to track that big story. CBI raid at the residence of Delhi Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and it's a full-blown political war of words between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. While the Aam Aadmi Party maintains that this is a political witch hunt and vendetta, BJP says that Aam Aadmi Party is shying away from a thorough investigation. This pertains to the allegations of a quid pro quo and some kind of benefits that the Delhi Deputy Chief Minister and his office has received when the change in the excise policy had really happened. Joining us on the broadcast are my colleagues. Rupashri Nanda is joining us live from outside the residence of Arvind Kejriwal. Ananya Bhatnagar also continues to track all the developments from the residence of Lieutenant Governor. Rupashri, first to you. It's a day full of press conferences. It's a day full of political statements. Manish Sisodia is facing an investigation by the CBI. Tell us what you're hearing from the Aam Aadmi Party. What is the way forward? Are they likely to take a legal recourse? What are their options?
Well, the first point that I would like to make is that it's been 9 hours since CBI officers are at Manish Sisodia's residence, and the raids have been continuing now for 9 hours and more. We are also getting to learn that Manish Sisodia has not been able to communicate with the Aam Aadmi Party people or anybody else during the course of these raids, and his phone apparently is not accessible to him right now. So those are the two most important points that I would like to mention. And regarding the battery of press conferences that you see, in which Aam Aadmi Party is fielding each of its top leaders, essentially is to cash on in this moment politically and try to turn this into a Modi versus Kejriwal battle. And if you look at all the press conferences, that is exactly what each and every Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson, whether it is an MLA or a spokesperson or an MP, each of them are making the same point, that because the BJP is rattled by the rise of the Aam Aadmi Party, it is resorting to such tactics. Now remember, the BJP also is making the most of this moment and is trying its best to dent the Aam Aadmi Party where it would hurt the Aam Aadmi Party the most. That is the image of being an honest political party. And that is how the narrative is being played out both by the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. We also heard from Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, who addressed the people, but very significantly in that short address, he actually did not refer much to the raids that have been going on in Sisodia's residence, except for just once, where he said that raids have happened before, and even today they will not find anything at Sisodia's residence. Importantly, he said that there is nothing to be scared of, and in a signal of confidence in his own leaders and team members, he also said that let the CBI do its work. We are not scared of any investigations, and each of the Aam Aadmi Party spokespersons, every statement that has come out since morning, each one of them have said that all investigations are welcome. We welcome the raids of the CBI. You are welcome to unleash all your agencies on us.
Yeah.
But if you look at it very closely, the Aam Aadmi Party's leaders are also trying to turn the tables on the BJP by trying to put that question back to the central government, that there's so many alleged scams that have happened involving your departments, your ministers. What action has been taken on that?
Yeah.
And therefore trying to push this political point that it is a question of political vendetta. The other point I wanted to make is that political lines are also becoming very sharply very sharp on this.
Yeah.
Congress party has welcomed the raids on Manish Sisodia, but the left, the DMK, and all they actually have come out in support of the Aam Aadmi Party. Importantly, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has not yet spoken on the raids. She has not come out in support of the Aam Aadmi Party. So political parties are also making their positions very clear about where they stand. And remember, Congress was also facing the same situation what the Aam Aadmi Party is facing today. But at the crux of the matter is the Delhi Excise Policy, and whether Sisodia is guilty or not will be decided ultimately by the courts only.
By the courts only. These are allegations and counter-allegations. That's the season between the Aam Aadmi Party and the BJP. Ananya, the role of the LG's office in this entire investigation has been very, very critical. While the Aam Aadmi Party says that the erstwhile Lieutenant Governor had given his approval, at that time there was no objection. Right now, with the changed LG, there was a recommendation for a CBI probe that went forward. Take us through the various questions that have been raised over the excise policy, the legal routes which are open for the Aam Aadmi Party, the details that you have.
Well, yes, remember that the chronology of event not even goes back to the LG's office, but to the Chief Secretary's office, which had in fact, and as per our sources in the LG office, it has been clearly pointed out to us that it was the cabinet's, the Chief Secretary, who had in fact given out a report to the LG office with regards to discrepancies in this new excise policy, which were that various irregularities were there into this particular policy. A note was not taken. In fact, it was causing a huge loss to the public exchequer. There were cuts on the dry days, and in fact concessions on the liquor licenses being given out to certain people. So these are basic irregularities that had emerged out, which were sent to the LG office, following which after the change in the Lieutenant Governor of the National Capital, we saw that a letter was written to the Home Ministry for seeking a recommendation for a CBI probe into this particular case, following which a preliminary inquiry was conducted by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and further then RC was registered, a regular case was registered, which we call in general terms FIR was registered into this particular case. Searches have now been conducted. 8 hours have gone by. 21 locations, including Mr. Sisodia's residence, is being raided. Phones have been seized by all of the electronic devices, including phones and laptops at his residence, have been seized, as what our CBI sources tell us. And what is legally happening is that Aam Aadmi Party lawyers are in fact trying to seek out all of the legal routes available into this particular case. They are in consultation with big names like Kapil Sibal, and they might also be speaking to Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi, who has been a very close counter to the Aam Aadmi Party legal cell, because he has represented them in various matters, including the freebies matter before the top court, and also very importantly the petitions which had challenged before the Delhi High Court the new excise policy of the government. He was the one who had defended, Abhishek Manu Singhvi had defended the Aam Aadmi Party government and hence he might also be consulted. But for Kapil Sibal, we are very sure, our sources tell us that a meeting took place. Various lacunas of law were discussed, and in fact all the legal routes that are possible into this particular case were discussed, and it was seen as to what can be done next. In fact, he would
so
also...
let's see what the legal options are ahead. Those are the top legal barons and legal eagles which are being consulted by the Aam Aadmi Party on various occasions, whether it's Mr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi or Kapil Sibal. They have represented leaders of the opposition, including the likes of TMC or an Aam Aadmi Party. Let's see what happens on that front. The legal route, of course, would be explored by Manish Sisodia and the Aam Aadmi Party. My colleague Shivani Gupta also spoke exclusively to BJP MP Gautam Gambhir on the CBI heat on Manish Sisodia and AAP's vendetta politics charge on BJP. Listen in.
The Aam Aadmi Party has said that there have been unintentional bad effects of the excise policy. They have in many ways accepted that on ground this policy created issues, but it was unintended. and they have also made allegations against the former Lieutenant Governor. So that's the defense that they are presenting.
Aren't you guys tired of listening to all this cheap politics since last 7 years? It is absolutely shameful that they've gone back. If they were so crystal clear and absolutely black and white, they shouldn't have gone back on the liquor policy. They shouldn't have taken back the liquor policy. If the policy was so beneficial for Delhi or so beneficial for anyone. It is such a shame that every penny, a hard-earned money of a taxpayer, have gone for all the advertisement and all the ads which we keep on seeing. Delhi has never looked this tired what it has looked in last 7 years.
Central Bureau of Investigation has raided the house of Arav Gopi Krishnan, who was the excise commissioner at that point in time when Delhi government has passed the excise policy of 21-22. And this is the residential area of Arav Gopi Krishnan where he's putting up. This is the government officers residential complex in Vasant Kunj. This is the place where CBI salutes came in the morning and his flat was raided. We are told that for 6 hours the team of Central Bureau of Investigation was inside his flat here in Vasant Kunj. Remember, this is one of the places along with Manish Sisodia's residence and 9 other places which were raided by the Central Bureau of Investigation.
A new name of Dinesh Arora has come up. Currently, I am standing outside one of his pubs in the national capital, that is in Aero City. Now, the BJP has made allegations against him that he was also involved in this whole liquor mafia that was involved in distributing the licenses, liquor licenses in the national capital according to the new excise policy. However, the Aam Aadmi Party has not reacted to these allegations, but yes, the BJP has taken on the Aam Aadmi Party, saying that Dinesh Arora was the person who used to take commissions from L1 license owners in the national capital and used to submit that to Manish Sisodia. He's also being alleged to being the right hand of Manish Sisodia in this entire controversy. Also, another point of contention that the BJP has been raising is that all the photos and videos that Manish Sisodia had with La Roca's owner, Dinesh Arora, that all content has been removed from entire social media as well as the internet. So now it remains to be seen if the CBI can actually investigate the case from this angle and get in touch with Dinesh Arora. However, still no contact has been made.
Where Aam Aadmi Party said that initially it was, passed, but later, some questions were raised on the particular point where it was said that now, even unauthorized colonies will be seeing the liquor shops. And that's the reason why we are, hearing the name of previous LG of Delhi, Anil Baijal, because they are saying that Anil Baijal at last point raised some sort of question, and that's the reason why they could not open shops in the authorized colonies, and that's the reason why those who were provided with these licenses, they went to court, and that's the reason why, we face some sort of loss in the exchequer. Also, at this point in time, we are seeing some political developments, in fact the war of words between the BJP and Aam Aadmi Party, where BJP on one hand is saying that just because you are corrupt, you have violated the norms, rules and regulations, that's the reason why CBI is at your place and is doing the investigation. On the other hand, we have Aam Aadmi Party leaders who are clearly saying at this point in time that BJP is, in fact, central government is misusing central agencies, and after Satin Jain, Manish Sisodia is the minister who is targeted as of now.
So the big story this morning onwards, Manish Sisodia's residence has CBI officials raiding. There are other raids also being carried out in Punjab, in Telangana, in Daman and Diu, in other parts of Delhi and NCR. Sanjay Singh, the Aam Aadmi Party member of Parliament, has spoken on this matter. Let's listen in.
मसला क्या है? मसला ये है कि कल दिल्ली के शिक्षा मॉडल की मनीष सिसोदिया जी की पहले पेज पे फोटो छपी अमेरिका के न्यूयॉर्क टाइम्स में। परेशानी इससे होती भारतीय जनता पार्टी को कि दिल्ली का शिक्षा मॉडल, मनीष सिसोदिया का शिक्षा मॉडल, केजरीवाल का शिक्षा मॉडल कैसे पूरे दुनिया में प्रचारित हो रहा है। इसलिए स्वास्थ्य मंत्री को जेल में डालो, अब शिक्षा मंत्री के ऊपर कार्रवाई करो। तो इन कार्रवाइयों में कुछ निकलना नहीं है, और ये बात बिल्कुल स्पष्ट हो गई कि मोदी जी की लड़ाई कोई भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ नहीं है। उनकी लड़ाई सीधे तौर पे केजरीवाल और विपक्ष के खिलाफ है, जो वो कार्रवाई कर रहे हैं।
क्या रणनीति रहेगी आम आदमी पार्टी के आगे सर, और आपको क्या लगता है कि ये आम आदमी की छवि धूमिल करने के लिए की जा रही है?
लगातार वही कोशिश हो रही है, पहले भी यही कोशिश हुई। छवि धूमिल करने के अलावा बताइए और है क्या? नीरव मोदी 20,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 9,000 करोड़ लूट के भाग गया विजय माल्या, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। नितिन संदेशरा 6,000 करोड़ लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 3,000 करोड़ लेके ललित मोदी लूट के बैठा, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते। 42,000 करोड़ का घोटाला DHFL ने किया, जिससे 29 करोड़ रुपए बीजेपी ने चंदा लिया है, उस पर कोई कार्रवाई नहीं करते।
And some latest news coming in. 4 Congress workers, including MP Rahul Gandhi's staff, has been arrested for vandalizing a picture of Mahatma Gandhi in his Wayanad office. This is what Kalapeta police has said. Congress had earlier alleged that it was SFI workers who had vandalized the picture in Congress MP Rahul Gandhi's office in Wayanad. My colleague Neetu Regukumar is getting us all the details on this very important story. Neetu, give us more details. What is the police investigation so far? Tell us.
Now, 4 Congress workers, including the staff of Rahul Gandhi's office, that is his office personal assistant Ratish Kumar, then staff Rahul and workers Mujib and Naushad. These people have been arrested today under Section 153 of IPC, which deals with rioting. Now, the incident pertaining to this happened on June 24. There was a march by SFI workers towards Rahul Gandhi's office, claiming the protest was that he was not actively involving in this buffer zone issue. But in that, some of these workers entered the Rahul Gandhi's office and they kept a plantain tree in his chair, and there was some allegations of vandalizing there. After the SFI workers left, there was photos and pictures that were released which showed that Mahatma Gandhi's picture, which was on the wall, was also vandalized and on the floor. Now, the Congress had alleged that it was these SFI workers, when they entered the office, that they had vandalized this. But there were media reports, because there were visuals shown after these workers left, that the photo was still there, and later in the pictures, the picture was vandalized. So this is an issue which had actually rocked the State Assembly, and there were protests across the state in this issue. At that time also, the Chief Minister and the floor of the House had made the statement. So today, the Special Investigation Team has actually arrested these 4, saying that they had vandalized in connection with this.
Ritu, you're pointing out that this is an issue that has struck a chord across the state, and you also had a statement made on the floor of the House in the State Assembly. Who was the complainant in the case that went to the police in the first instance? Because I'm sure, and as you're reporting, there are a lot of allegations and counter-allegations, political crossfire, which must be happening between the Congress and the left parties.
When the first incident happened, when SFI workers barged into the MP's office and vandalized, and when these pictures came out,